Welcome back, everybody, to Late Night at the Movies and the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host Nico, and joining me today, we got Julie and JT. What's going on, guys? This is our movie discussion show. Make sure to like and subscribe and check out all of our other content here on our Late Night at the Movies playlist, as well as the other stuff here on our YouTube channel. But today, this is episode 74, and we're going to be discussing the film Pan's Labyrinth, which was Julie's pick. So take it away without further ado.
Oh, look at that. You guys know how it is. Nico was just saying I pick the same kind of fucking movies all the time. So you know how it is. You know I had to go with this one. If anybody's ever looked at my Letterboxd top 4, they know this is in there. This is the last one. We've run the gamut on my top 4 now.
Oh, really?
This is the last one.
I don't think I
paid attention.
Well, if anybody in the audience has ever looked at my fucking Letterboxd, but anyway,
I've only done half of mine. That's currently my top 4 right now.
There we go. Jay, how do we do on yours?
I don't know. We're not going to open it up right now. Hold on.
Yeah, there you go. You might get an idea for later. This I'm trying to remember when I would have seen this for the first time. Just to get right into it, this was another giant tiger bargain bin movie for me.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, like now having seen it, like it's obviously not my first watch through. This you guys have both not seen it before now, right? This is the first watch?
I watched it. I watched it for the first time, I think like 2 years ago. I probably still have my log actually on Letterboxd here if I looked into it, but because I don't know when the first time but it was like within the last couple of years that I've watched it for the first time. Yeah.
Jay, you've never seen it though, right?
Your Letterboxd?
No. This movie.
This movie? No, this is not. This is the first time I've seen it. I've watched the other Labyrinth, but
we had some confusion about that. So this is another giant tiger bargain bin movie for me. It's actually the copy I have. Go ahead.
Sorry, I watched it for the first time in April 2024, so it's only been about a year and a half since I've seen it for the first time. So
all right, fair enough.
This is one of Christine's favorites, though. Like she really likes this movie as well. And
her and I have very similar taste in
you like
film.
to read your movies?
We like to what?
Read your movies?
Yeah, well, I think we like. There's this.
I know the storyline.
The specific kind of story structure, and
I know. I get it.
I think her and I are both into, so like that checks out for me.
So why are you making stupid comments if you got it then?
No, can I tease? Like, come on. Can I tease, please?
Not when she's doing her fucking intro. Shut the hell up. Go ahead, Julie. The floor is yours.
It was a bargain bin movie. It's actually the copy I have, which I couldn't find when we were recording last episode. It's around here somewhere, but it's driving me nuts that I can't fucking find it. But it's in this. There's a reason that I'm probably overlooking it if it's in the case out there. But it's a combo disc with 2 movies. Like it's a double-sided DVD. Like one side was Pan's Labyrinth, and the other side is The Cell. Have either of you guys seen that?
No,
I feel like I have.
I've never.
It's kind of.
I'm familiar with it. I've never seen it. Isn't that also that Korean filmmaker, the one that did Parasite? Isn't that his film?
The Cell? I don't think so. No, I think it was a Spanish guy.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a Spanish guy.
You're right. I'm thinking of something else that he did. That this is Tarsem Singh. I don't know who the hell that is.
Tarsem Singh directed The Cell?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's okay. I'm an idiot for not knowing that, and that's going to come up later. And it's
talking about the Jennifer Lopez movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tarsem Singh is great. Oh, damn. Okay.
I don't know who that is.
It'll come up later. It's going to come up later.
Oh, it's that Fall guy. Yeah. The one that you've talked about before. I'm not familiar with his work, so
that actually checks out. But it's The Cell is an incredibly dark movie in contrast. But it's kind of like it is kind of a matchup in the way that this movie has this huge thematic magical realism component, whereas The Cell also has that, but it's like the darker version. Like this is like the magical realism is the uplifting part of the movie, whereas the magical realism as well is pretty dark. Like it's inside the mind of a murderer. Like it's sort of like a schizophrenic component almost. It's like but it is kind of like in the same vein of that thematic similarity, I would say. So it is kind of makes sense that they're together. I did not realize it was Tarsum Singh. I'm gonna rewatch that movie.
The movie I was thinking of was The Host by Bong Joon-ho.
The Host.
Yeah. That's I mixed up the because it's like the singular the something titles, and it's also like a different because he's an Indian director, the other guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I this Korean. I guess I mixed them up in my head, but yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm thinking of the guy that's in the movie. I'm thinking of Vince
Vaughn.
No. The he's like Italian or something. The name
Vince
is
D'Onofrio's in it.
D'Onofrio,
yeah.
He's what?
The Kingpin.
Yeah, he's yeah, I thought he directed it. I remember that name, and I was like, I couldn't remember if he was in it or directed or whatever. So essentially, like, for anybody that hasn't seen it, you should watch it first of all. But it's like essentially like it's a child's fantasy escapism from like the harsh reality of civil war or the fallout of civil war. Because it's set in I think 1944, and it's technically during World War II, but it's not set.
It's more focused, like the Spanish Civil War.
Yeah, it's
like happens during World War II as well.
Yes, it's during World War II is happening, but like Spain is like a formerly neutral country in World War II, but they were having their own civil war, which kind of ended.
They were like allies with the Germans, but they didn't fight with them.
Yeah, they were sort of like ideologically aligned with Axis powers, but they were not involved in World War II. They were having their own fucking civil war. But then, like the regime, the Spanish regime that took over after the Civil War was very. It was like I would say it was what's it called? What the fuck is the word that I want? Did I fucking write it down anywhere? Hold on a second. It's really what the fuck? What is the word? What is dictatorship? That's the one I want.
Okay.
Like kind of like dictatorship sort of fangalistic Spain was like really like anyway, the point being that it's just this kid that's going through the harsh realities of being kind of on like part of a not wealthy part of Spain, but her mom, who is very pregnant, marries this guy that is a military captain during the fallout of the Civil War when like the regime was changing, and he's kind of a fascist, and she's just not dealing with it well, and she's really into books, and she's being made to become a part of this new family when she's not really vibing with, and he's kind of this representation of really, I would say he's a representation of evil. He's not a good guy. The stepfather's not a good guy, and the mother is just like, like, well, to summarize, like he's supposed to be the representation of a lot of different things, but like but like when you first like are introduced to him as a character, he's just kind of this stiff sort of like, I don't know, not very warm character, and she doesn't like him right away, but her mother is pregnant with his child, like very pregnant, like 9 months pregnant. And that's the synopsis more so. And she becomes increasingly more involved in this fantasy world, where she is visited by a fairy and a faun, who tell her that she doesn't remember, but she is a long lost princess, the daughter of the king of the underworld, which is kind of like a dark sort of like that story being illustrated to her. Like when you hear like you're the daughter of the king of the underworld, you're thinking like she's the daughter of the devil. It's kind of like an interesting like translation thing that's happening there, but she is given this opportunity to rejoin her kingdom and her family that is there, her real father, who in reality land, her actual father has died, and she's become part of this shitty family, and there's all this military stuff going on, and she doesn't like any of it. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't like living where they're living. They've had to move, and yeah, it's just about the escapism of what's going on in her life and the changes that are going on and how terrible it is to be a child during times of war, basically. And yeah, that's all I want to get into at the moment. I don't want to get too deep until we get into discussion, but I got a lot of notes here.
Jay,
what did you think, Jay?
Oh, I thought it was very interesting to watch because it was very creative. It started playing with my mind near the end, and how the people that she was meeting in there and stuff like that could be the people in real life. It was I didn't get I didn't see that Princess of the Underworld thing. Like I didn't get, maybe I wasn't reading fast enough. But
they mentioned it early on. They mentioned it.
Yeah, so
the film's entirely in Spanish. I forgot to mention the whole thing is subtitled, but the film is in Spanish.
Yeah, they got me on it. But you know what? It was very intriguing to be completely honest with you, because it did want to keep me focused and watching it too, right? Which is like, I wish it had an English
dub
version of it, dub of it, because it would have been just that much easier for me. But I'm just saying at that whole point, I think it helped me to focus on the movie and the storyline behind it, where I could see the blending in between of the two, why she's making up why this is fictional world in her head and fairy tale world, right? Which is pretty neat that they did this. It's just a weird looking character, eh? with the forehead there, what was it? What was he?
His name?
The fawn.
Is that what it was? Just a fawn? It just the voice itself was just.
The fawn is like half goat, half man, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Half gold, right? Yeah.
And then the other guy is the what's his name? The Pale Man, which is the guy with the eyes and the hands.
Like this guy,
super fucking cool too. Yeah, like
he's a costume like that. Yeah, for Halloween.
Very cool looking. Yeah, very
cool. Both the Fawn and the Pale Man played by one of my favorites, Doug Jones, as we know.
Yeah, that's right. What else has he done? That guy,
Doug Jones. He was in Hellboy, another Del Toro favorite.
Okay.
He was Abraham, Abe Sapien.
Okay.
He was in Hocus Pocus. He was Billy the Dead guy. Billy Butcherson.
Oh, okay, yeah. Billy the Butcher guy, or whatever his name is. Yeah.
So he does speak English. He just did a Spanish film.
Oh, okay. He spoke all of his. He had to work with a dialect coach or whatever to learn all of his lines in Spanish. He spoke them all during the film, which was helpful because he's wearing that costume and his mouth movements are his own. So he's speaking the lines. He also had to learn Ophelia's lines to know when he was supposed to speak.
Cues, yeah.
They ended up dubbing over top of him with a different guy's voice because they liked the tone of I forget what the voice actor's name was, but they dubbed over the lines with this guy who had a deeper, more gravelly voice, because Doug Jones, if you've seen Hellboy and you know what Abe Sapien's voice sounds like, it's like the register like of where his voice is a lot higher than the guy who does the dub of the Fawn. That guy that does the dub, the voice actor guy, his voice is a lot lower register. It's a little bit more gravelly, very kind of low.
Like Smoker for years.
Yeah, but like kind of.
Yeah. No, I know that.
Yeah.
Like slow. That's the deeper.
It's got this kind of sinister quality to it, a little bit more but creepy. Still, like Doug Jones learned all the fucking lines.
That's
but
cool.
he doesn't speak Spanish, so that must have been really hard. Actually, Guillermo del Toro was the only person in production that was bilingual and spoke both English and Spanish. So he actually did all of
Mexican, right? So
so Guillermo del Toro did the he wrote all the English subtitles himself because he didn't trust the translators. And so it's still true to the storytelling how he wanted it to be. He's very much, this film is entirely in his control, and it's what he wanted to make, and it's so pure Del Toro. And one of the reasons I love it.
Well, yeah, even like what you said there, like the fact that he loves practical effects stuff so much, like the fact that those guys are actually guys in costumes. That's like a combination of like different, like costume pieces and like. Is
that why it was so detailed?
A lot of it is costume. The legs, the from the knee, like whatever. This fawn has like 2 sets of knees, but like he's wearing kind of
animatronic. There's animatronics involved. There's like prosthetics like involved. There's all kinds of different.
He's wearing the whole thing except for the bottom section of the leg down was green screened and added in afterwards because it was mechanical.
Yeah, there's some digital stuff as well, but for the most part, it's all like practical effect type stuff. Like actually, and like that's why Julie said he played both characters in it, right? Those are both costumes. I went years ago. They did a Del Toro exhibit here in Toronto, and we saw the costumes that they used in the actual film. They had them on display there, which I had never seen the film at the time. Right? I kind of, Christine's been wanting me to watch this for a long time. Yeah,
just
so
phenomenal with this guy. Yeah, in that sense. But I didn't realize, I didn't look into the directors or anything. I said I had to watch this, and then I knew I only had to cut it at that time, a certain time for him to watch it. But then I started to realize how much I was like the detail that they had into this movie. I mean, this has been,
it's very layered.
Yeah, how many years now has this been out? No,
it's since 2006.
It's almost 20 year anniversary here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's you can see the how it's changed, but even though his quality to the detail, especially when it comes to the crafting part of it and the the backgrounds and stuff like that and all the costumes and stuff, you can see where it's so nowadays you can use more electronics and green screen and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, but I think that this was
like
he got to do exactly what he wanted and how he made this. Not that that's necessarily the case with anything he's making now. Like I think that he's such a huge name now to the industry that they will just hand him the reins and go, do your thing. Here's money, do it.
He's very hands-on with what he's very particular, but he has like envisions the things he also like sketches a lot of this stuff out. He's a great artist as well. He has like a sketchbook that he actually illustrates a lot of like his ideas.
It's like if people took Tim Burton seriously.
Yeah, exactly. No, he has like a whole book. I don't have it. I wish I did. It's like his Cabinet of Curiosities book that has all these illustrations of like the pitch ideas that he had for films, like in his actual notebook that he conceived. He's just one of those guys that again wears his like interests on his sleeve. Like the fact that he just came out with that Frankenstein movie, he's obsessed with Frankenstein. Like he has a whole you should look into this guy, Jay. There's like he has his basically the museum, the exhibit that they did, they tried to emulate and show some of the rooms that are inside his house. He like lives in like a haunted mansion type of house. Like he has like this, and like he has all these rooms that are dedicated to things. Like he literally has a room that's all Frankenstein. Like he has all these like statues and paintings and toys and comics. Like he is obsessed with like all these things that I really like too. So like that's why I like his films usually, because like he has like deep roots in like horror and like gothic horror and like fantasy stuff and comics and like, you know, I mean, that's why he did Hellboy, right? Which is like he has all these interests that I really dig as well. So like that's why I like his movies. And like, and again, just like old school movie making, practical effects stuff. He accepted some award for that Frankenstein, and he said fuck AI. Like he's really like, you know what I mean, like really keen on like filmmaking and like and creating these worlds. Like Julie said, like he's almost like a Tim Burton in that sense. Like as he is, like he's better than him, I would say. All right,
I think
yeah.
The only really way I learned about him was the Cabinets of Curiosity, and that's
it's
pretty
just
sad.
Horror anthology. Yeah.
It's pretty sad because that came out later on. Like if I would have known something like this, I maybe, like I said, maybe because it wasn't in English that it didn't catch my attention.
But this is why it's important. I know for you, I know you say that you don't pay attention to directors so much until we talk about them here on the show. But this is why, if you like a director's work, you should really seek out the rest of their catalog.
But I didn't even think about it, like just only because it had his name in it, because it was an anthology TV show, I think it was, that I didn't think of it being a director as a movie, right?
But he didn't even do all those. Those were done by different directors. Those
he only did one. I think, right?
He conceived the idea for it. That's why that book is called that too. Like that Cabinet of Curiosities, like that he has. Like it's he's the one that brought. Like a lot of those people that did that are a lot of Spanish directors.
That was that was his episode. Was I think that one with the attention to detail where it got to me, to the whole point.
Yeah.
It's like if I would have known, and that's what maybe made his name stand out, because it was in that as well, right? Where they put it in the title.
I mean, I still haven't seen all of his films myself, but I am a huge fan of what he does. Yeah, but yeah, like I mentioned, I watched this about a year and a half ago for the first time after Christine wanted me to watch it for forever. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I haven't watched this. So I ended up watching it. Then, yeah, like I picked up the Blu-ray, like I just showed off because Christine's a big fan of it as well. And, you know, I'm going to slowly make my way through like his other films as well. But I've just really dug the last few movies in particular that he's done that I've watched. And, I'm kind of surprised. I almost forgot because I had only seen it the first time, and I literally had the same thought while watching it this time as well. I'm surprised that you and Christine, like, I get why you guys like it. You like it more for the fantastical elements of it, but the fantastical elements of this movie are only like such a small part of this film. It's
I'm pointing to it, but that's not the reason I like it.
No, Christine said she likes it for other reasons too, but those are. The story itself is a good, captivating story. Don't get me wrong. But at its heart, this is a war movie. So, like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't know that would be something that would be of interest. Like, that's why she says she does like the fantastical elements the most. But as a whole, she likes the movie. Like, it's not like she doesn't like the war stuff. But it's just literally like, it's like 25% of the film. And whenever I think of this movie, I feel like it should be like 75% of the film. And I'm not so into certain fantasy elements in movies or in stories. Like I always say this on the show. I'm not into like high fantasy. Like I'm not a big Lord of the Rings guy. Like as soon as there's fairies and elves and all this other shit showing up, I'm not so.
I was same with you like that.
Yeah. But here the backdrop is a World War II, like Spanish, like Civil War type movie with darker elements and horror elements in it. I'm in, like, you know what I mean? So like I think it's important.
The dictator, yeah,
I think it's important what he meshed the material with in this film, and that's what I think shines through, and it makes it not just one dimensional of like, hey, it's a girl going to like this magical world, and which, you know, whatever, that we'll get into that whole aspect of it, but
we get the storybook feel.
Yeah, but I like the backdrop. I like the story going on between all these characters, like the captain character is great, and all these. I also think it works. It's one of its strengths is like it has a lot of actors that we don't know, like, because they're all like Spanish actors. Like there's a lot of people there I don't really recognize. Maybe they've popped up in other Del Toro.
So you don't get distracted by the celebrity of any of it.
Right. I like that. I really like a good story where you can dig into it and be like, you're not kind of focused on people's performances per se, because you're like, I like that actor, I like this actor, and like you said, like it's just that plus a bunch of like fantastic costumes of these creatures and imaginative world building type stuff. It just makes for honestly like a perfect package where I was like, the first half of it I was like, yeah, you know, this is good. that second half of the film, though, I'm like, by the end, I'm like, this was fantastic. Once again, like, I was like, this is probably my favorite pick that you've made in some time. Like, I usually like, you know, for the most part, I've enjoyed your picks, but this is probably my favorite of the ones you've recently discussed. Like, and I think we're definitely on like a wavelength of you having similar themed films, let's say, like between this, Riddle Fire was the last one, and like
she's
Spirited Away,
the best one with like the
right?
ones that are like indie style, like where you don't know any of the actors or you don't know half the fucking actors
Right.
that are in it, but it becomes a great film that you want to fucking watch again.
Yeah,
Right.
I do have my
right to
streaks
nail.
of like, you know, watching the old stuff that everybody's watched, that it's just like, this is a fucking good movie. I like it. Let's watch it again for nostalgia's sake and talk about it on the show. But I do really find my groove in like, I mean, this is a pretty fucking popular one, I would say.
Yeah.
Like this is known, but like I do like really digging my fingers into like movies that are like that I might be showing you for the first time that I thought was really good and worthy of accolade. Like I think that I do find a lot of joy in that. So something like this where I know that JT's never fucking seen it because you have to read the entire movie. It's like, I don't know, there's something about that, like where I can really get into the weeds about like the metaphorical representation of things, and like if you really read into stuff, like that type of conversation, and like that type, like very similar to the like Spirited Away discussion we had after we watched that one. There is a lot of layering in this movie, very similar to that film, like
well,
in the same way. So I have a lot of,
because I don't know anything about the background of this film. I mean, I have my own interpretation of things, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Mhm.
That I don't think I'm incorrect on certain aspects of the storyline, but I also feel like, you know, this is definitely one where it is still to be left open for interpretation in many ways.
sure.
That's what I really like about it. But at its core, this is a very dark movie.
It is.
It's a pretty fucking dark movie. It's brutal. The ending is brutal.
Yep.
But it's got a sweet touch. It's got a sweet spot somewhere here and there.
I don't know about that.
It's you know what, dude? It is. It's
You're choosing how you experience the ending.
There's a heartfelt experience there.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
You're choosing how you want the film to end, because
Sure.
it is. You could look at it in the way of like, it's fine. She's not dead. She went to her kingdom. That happened. Or you're choosing that she was having like the go to the light experience of she is dead.
Let's talk about the movie then. Yeah. We're just beating around the bush.
No, I mean, if we're gonna get into it now, like, I don't know if Julie wanted to jump ahead, because I have like, this was in her head. This didn't happen. This was her escape. This was her escape. This was her escape of the horrible situation that she was in. That's my jumping ahead here. That's my interpretation of this. This never happened. Any of this stuff.
So there's interesting fan theories online.
Who knows, bro?
No, it's all bullshit.
There's all kinds of fan theories about that opium bottle that's in the fucking bedroom that they're giving the mother to like to sort of quell the symptoms of the pregnancy going wrong. They're just giving her opium and knocking her out. But that bottle empties as the film goes on. They're like, was this kid on opium for the entire movie?
See, I didn't catch that, but I just feel like this is clearly
escapism.
Yes, exactly.
Well, she's drinking some milk with some weird fucking root in it. So like, come on.
It's like that whole, like, I actually just thought of this right now. There's that movie. I don't know if you guys ever seen it. I've seen it when I was younger. That Life is Beautiful movie where like it's World War II, and the dude like tries to pretend like all the stuff that's going on with his kid is basically get put into the camps. And there's the whole thing with the gas and everything else, but he's trying to like play it off like it's all a game, and like this isn't like to the kid. He's trying to like create this fantastical element to kind of so the kid isn't scared of what the fuck is going on when they get caught, and he's trying to like be brave, put on a brave face for the kid in the movie. But that's kind of what I felt like this was just her escape from this horrible situation that she was in. And I think it's really just, and it really shines through in that last scene with the guy seeing that she's talking to nobody. But you can also go further with it and be like, she's a kid, so it's one of those things, the imaginations of a child. Like, of course, the adult is not going to see this, right? It's only meant for the kid, and it's a magical creature. But I'm just a pessimist. I'm like, nah, this never happened. This was all in her head. It was escapism. She dies. It's fucking horrible, the ending. Like, did you say this one makes you cry? Is that what you said about this, or is the other movie you almost picked? See,
they both do.
Well, I'm going to throw it right back in your face, Julie. Nothing in this movie made me cry. I don't understand. Why would you cry at this? You don't cry at people being alone on the holidays, but you cry at some fantastical bullshit that happened, and a girl dies at the end of the film during a World War II period, which makes perfect sense. Cry for this? I can't believe it. No tears were shed watching this movie. No,
listen.
Go watch the last episode, guys, and shame her for not crying during.
I didn't even know why Nico cried. I couldn't figure it out. But
I don't know why you cried during this film. So there you go. It's all personal.
Because you have to understand the allegories and the metaphors of the whole thing, which I'm gonna tell you every single one.
I'm gonna spoil everything right now. I'm jumping ahead. No, go ahead. It's your film.
Listen, I took mercy on our fellow cast members here and not making us watch the other film. You would have fucking, oh my God.
Go back and check the episode, guys, of my shitty editing where she's like, I'm thinking between, and there's like Pan's Labyrinth. They're just constantly saying Pan's Labyrinth. I'm like, let's not even throw the other pick out there.
after
Coochie, I'm going to.
We put the magnifying glass up to the content of the other movie and decided, it was better to go in this direction for
Fair
this.
Enough.
But
go ahead, let's get
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah. You know what? Parth told me he wasn't going to fucking watch it either. He read about it and he goes, absolutely not. I'm not watching the other movie. I'm like, okay. By the way,
How to Kill the Family Members.
We've watched that movie. We watched that movie together on Monday. Not that movie. This movie, sorry. We watched Pan's Labyrinth together on Monday. And when we were watching it, he was like, I don't remember what scene we were in, but he goes, how much is left in the movie? I was like, I could guess, but he was like, it needs 3 hours. And I was like, I think it's okay at the length that it's at. I think it's rounded out well. And then when we were done, he goes, 10 out of 10, no notes. And that was like, all right.
He'd never seen it before?
He had never seen it before.
He
loved it.
It really, like that last bit of the film, really brings it home. Honestly,
yep.
That's what I said. It was still kind of new for me because it's my only second time watching it. So the first half, I was remembering stuff. I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. But then that second half of the film, like I said, it was just by the end, I was just all in. Like Jay said, he goes in on these. Sometimes he isn't sure if he's gonna like it because these aren't films. Sometimes he would actually check out on his own. But it really does. It is really good. It's a very worthwhile story.
I think it's not really hard. It's not a hard read either, or whatever.
I told you that.
Yeah, it wasn't really that hard.
Yeah,
I think what's important about the last scene that makes it good is they don't end it on a fade to black of her walking into that kingdom. They cut back to real world. She is dead on the ground.
Yeah. I thought of that too.
And it's war. I think that is a defining characteristic of what makes the ending so fucking good. It's so fine-tuned. They go back and they show you she is dead.
He killed a kid.
Real life.
He killed a kid. It's brutal. Yeah. But like you said, it is war. Yeah. So
okay.
I think I got one now for this one. It's going to be something similar to this.
Oh, a recommendation? Nice. Fucking list is long.
A pick.
Okay, so I talked about, I've done the setup. Ophelia obviously is a representation in the movie of, starts out, she's the representation of innocence. She's a child. She's supposed to be 11-ish. She's a representation of innocence and imagination, obviously. She reads a lot of books. She reads a lot of fairy tales. She obviously has this wild imagination. She sees this vaguely praying mantis-looking bug in the forest. She thinks it's a fairy. And by the way, CGI in this movie for 2006. Oh, chef's kiss. Amazing.
It aged good. Yeah. Usually that doesn't
I
age.
I mean,
I
yeah.
was
Well, I
not
guess that's
bothered.
the beginning.
I was not bothered by any of it, and reading up on it further made me like appreciate it even more for what practical effects stuff they were doing to like in
And
tandem with the special effects, like VFX stuff they were doing to give it that element of. There was like small components where I was like, okay, this has slipped a little bit into like, okay, I can tell that this has not aged quite as well, but they were so small, such small parts. But as soon as you see that stick bug or that praying mantis, whatever it is, for the first time, you're like, damn. And you remember this movie is from 2006. You're like, okay. Anyway, she's represents innocence, imagination. She's also a really good representation of resistance, generally just moral good in the movie. Like she's got a good moral compass, but she also has this resistance and sacrifice in the movie, throughout the movie, towards the end. We get to the first trial, once she meets this faun, and he says, you are the princess of this kingdom. We finally found you. We're gonna, we're gonna put you through these trials to prove you're worthy to come back to us in the underworld, in this fantastical world that's the gateway to which is through this forest. It's kind of gnarly, and it's got all these, very organic elements, these kind of dead trees, this mossy stuff, all of these sculptural things that have kind of worn away over time. Pieces are falling out, they're covered in grass and things. And it's through this maze and this kind of creepy walkway, spiral staircase down to this monolith thing at the bottom that's got this carving into it. It's all these ancient kind of sculptural elements to it. And that's this gateway to this world. And so she's visited by this faun, and he says, we have these trials you need to pass in order to come back to us, and so we can bring you back into our world. And she's obviously very taken by it. Like it's an escape for her in her mind. It's she can get out of this fucking war zone she's living in and go and live in this fantastical magical place. So this first trial, she has to give these. I don't remember where the magic stones have come from, but he's given her this book that sort of illustrates this is exactly what you have to do. You open it when you're ready, and she opens the book and it's blank, and then the words kind of appear on the page. And so she has to visit this toad in the forest in the middle of the night. They don't have a fucking eye on this kid for the entire movie, which is crazy. That was something that was so funny about it to me, is like, they're like, okay, you're grounded. At one point, she's, her clothes get all fucked up, and they're like, that's it, no dinner for you. You're staying in your room. And she escapes immediately. And like, nobody's paying attention to where this kid's going. But anyway, she has to feed these 3 stones to this toad that's living between this twisted tree that is dying, because this toad has just been eating all of these bugs and leeching the life out of this tree. And we're getting kind of deep here with the toad. And this is kind of a loose one, but I think that the toad is supposed to represent a couple of things. He's supposed to represent greed. Which like, could be greed of like the government, the fascist thing that's going on with them, but it also
like spirited away with that monster, that thing that eats everything.
Exactly.
Steal a little or give a little to get a little. Kind of
this thing. Like he's the representation of this wealthy upper class hoarding the resources during the war, something like that. But it also, this is my interpretation of it. The times that I watched it, even up till now, I feel more strongly that he is a representation of her. It's kind of hard for me to justify it now, because she doesn't seem to have this kind of feeling towards the unborn child, the brother. She seems to like, she talks to the mom's tummy and stuff, and she's like, oh, look after my mom. She's like, she seems to be sweet towards the unborn kid in the mom's belly, but I always thought that the toad was more of a representation of like the parasitic nature of an unborn child, of leeching the resources of the mom. He's made her so sick, like she's suffering through this pregnancy. This tree is vaguely shaped like a uterus. That's kind of loose, but like it could be her representation of the worry that the baby is killing her mom, and the mom is the tree. And he's down there leeching all the resources, and she's like, aren't you ashamed, eating all these bugs? And she feeds in these stones, and then he turns into this disgusting pile of vomit, and there's a key in there. And I don't know, that's kind of my loose interpretation of what the toad is meant to represent anyway. And we get to the second trial eventually, but her mom is sick in the meantime, like particularly sick, and she wasn't able to make it and go out on the night she was supposed to for the second trial. So she's visited by the fawn again, and he shows up worrying about the timeline because she's supposed to do all of these things before the full moon happens. And she says, well, my mom is very sick, and he gives her this mandrake root to put in a bowl of milk. And he says, put this, and you need to give it 3 drops of blood or something, and it will fix all your problems here. And so she takes the mandrake root, she puts it in the bowl. The mandrake was animatronic, and she bites her finger. That's like the craziest thing in the movie also to me, like the most like off-putting part about, I don't know what it is about it, but she bites her fingertip to bleed.
She has to give it blood twice.
Yes,
drops of blood.
But it's the act of having to like bite your own finger enough to make it bleed. But I'm like, so whatever. She gives it these drops of blood, and then the mandrake starts to move in the bowl, and it's sort of juxtaposed to the background. The mother is behind, and it is out of focus in this one shot, and the mandrake is moving around in the bowl, and the movements of the mandrake are synchronized with the movements of the mother in the bed. Like the mandrake is sort of rolling over, and she rolls over, and he moves his feet and adjusts his feet, and she does the same thing. Anyway.
Is that what it's called? Mandrake?
Huh?
Is that what it was called? A mandrake?
That root thing, the root baby. Yeah.
So then she goes out for the second trial.
Which actually, sorry, I just want to say, apparently that's like that is like a thing, and like a mythological creature type thing, like because
Harry Potter.
Exactly, that's what Christine told me, which I didn't know. I've watched those movies once, just with her because she wanted me to watch them. Again, I don't care for Harry Potter. Really,
Harry Potter series is a yearly watch for me.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I don't love those films, but there's no love for me in those films. But that being said, yeah, she reminded me of the scene where they're like ripping them out and they're like squealing and stuff like that or whatever, right? In that movie. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I'm sure you already knew that, obviously, as you said there, but I was just like, yeah, it's worth mentioning because I didn't know that was like a thing outside of this film, like until she reminded me. I was like, oh,
and I'm not sure if it exists like as a concept because maybe the way that they grow, it maybe always like mimics some kind of human form, like it might be shaped vaguely like a human or something. I'm not sure where that comes from. I didn't find out anything about that. I didn't look for it.
Yeah, but it's like it is like a fantastical creature that exists, I guess, within stories because it's for I don't think either of these films are ripping each other off for that idea. So it's clearly something that exists in the zeitgeist. You know what I mean? Like yeah, which like I didn't
conceptually know. It already had some connection,
which I thought was interesting because I mean I know that fauns and fairies, like I know those all like exist in fantasy, but I didn't know like this thing was a thing in other things. I thought this was like specific to this film, but you pointed out to me that it wasn't. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Anyways, go on.
Interject, like as I'm going through here, interject wherever you guys want.
Yeah, I just no, but you have the floor. You got a lot to get through, so yeah, go ahead.
The second trial being the Pale Man, everybody's favorite. This guy,
fantastic. Yeah, so cool. So cool.
He's modeled after a guy that it's kind of unfortunate, but like the way that they've made him look with this kind of sagging loose skin is meant to look like a gluttonous person that was obese for a long time and then was starved and then had all this loose hanging skin.
or somebody that is on Ozempic and
Still relevant?
It was a
What's
drum
that?
roll.
It's still relevant today.
Jelly roll, exactly.
Jelly roll.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. No, that is like a something that
thing.
can happen. Yeah, from taking it is that you
Yep.
you lose so much weight so quickly, you end up getting saggy skin in certain spots, right?
Yep.
Like as the tummy tucks.
It's like here, and all of his belly rolls and his flappy arms, and yeah, he's supposed to
Jelly rolls, not jelly rolls anymore.
jelly roll. He's another metaphorical representation of greed in a way, and gluttony also, but like the same kind of representation of like the government is being greedy with resources and but it's also, and this is an interesting one, he's also meant to represent the corruption of the Catholic Church.
Huh.
Because they were using, so like, okay,
Where are you? Is this all things that Del Toro has discussed, like that you're pulling this information from? Okay. It's just interesting because it's such a reflection of the filmmakers' backgrounds between this and Spirited Away, how like in that one, he's talking about a lot of Japanese, like stuff that's relevant to Japanese people and their culture and wars and stuff like that. And the desecration of their culture. And it's similar, it seems like in this movie, which, again, I didn't pick up on any of this stuff, so please go on.
This is not the Catholic Church parallel. Is not something I picked up on.
Okay.
Well, I did it.
I was just like,
not from that part though.
This is like, he's a representation of this gluttonous kind of greedy. He's hoarding all the food, and there's all these starving children during war. So he's just supposed to represent some evil figure that's hoarding during a time where resources are scarce.
Because they're all rationing, and meanwhile, this guy has a huge feast of food.
All this food.
Right. And she couldn't help herself. Of all things, she risks it all for 2 grapes, which I thought was, but I guess that's like where they're at in terms of like,
Those are those purplish grapes. Those are really good, dude.
He's gluttonous. Well, okay, he's kind of a representation of gluttony, but also it's like, okay, the food is bait, though. He's not eating the food. He's starving.
Yeah, he eats children.
He eats children, which is the corruption of the Catholic Church.
They eat children too.
Devouring innocent children. Exactly.
Oh, you mean with the raping of children?
Yeah. And also just like there's a parallel thing happening in the reality while this is going on that is meant to draw a line between the two, that the priest or the mayor or somebody, no, I think it's a priest, is there at the dinner table with the captain and all those military figures and whatever.
He's having a grand old time, that priest.
Yeah, and he's talking about God has already forgiven their souls. He doesn't care.
Yeah, you'll be all right, guys. You'll be all right. Yeah. You're gonna go to heaven.
So it's about, in a way, religion, having like figural heads using religion to justify acts of war.
Well, it's that's interesting to bring that up. It is definitely a whole church and state type of deal there, like kind of like the relationship between church and state in that regard. With this war stuff going on, he's welcomed at that table because he's a priest, he's a man of faith. Yet, all these other people that are trying to like these freedom fighters that are out in the woods, they're the bad guys here, though, apparently, right? You know what I mean? It's interesting, but he gets a pass because he's a man of God. You know what I mean? It's interesting how like that works. But then
those deadly sins, man.
Well, but they're just like hand in hand. He's beholden to the guy that's in power, essentially, the church, because he is a man also of faith. Is that the church is welcomed? Even though they are kind of dirty as well, right? Like in other ways.
And it's also the sort of trap that they'd set up, like having this hoard of supplies to lure in people to. I mean, it's not a trap. They got their supply thing broken into, but it's like another parallel that's drawn. It's like they had this wealth of resources and these things, and it was a trap in a way. that they were able to capture somebody. It's like that's another parallel that's drawn between those two instances that are happening. It's that guy, the pale man, has got this trap set up, and he's luring the children in. They're starving children. I don't know. He's meant to represent corruption in the Catholic Church. That was from the research. I was more on the vein of like he's a representation of gluttony and greed. So, and then she gets two of her little friends killed.
Gluttony and greed is still the story that you're saying, the church side, regardless.
Also, yeah, but I wasn't thinking about the church. I wasn't drawing that parallel when the first few times I've watched it, right? Like,
yeah.
Now thinking about them, like, oh yeah, that's totally making sense. Well, those two things are happening in tandem. Those two, like over here at the dinner table, the priest is talking about that, and then she's down there with that fucking pale guy, and that's going on anyway. So, but then the other thing about that was that people online, the discourse about that scene is like, she's too stupid to live. They were like, do not eat the grapes. It's the one thing you don't have to. Do not eat food. Your life depends on it.
I know. Even the fairies are like trying to wrestle it
out
of
Spanish.
Yeah.
The fairies speak Spanish.
But her choosing to eat the grapes is meant to illustrate the courageous disobedience. Because it is stupidity, the way it's illustrated to us. It's like they were like, don't eat it, you'll die.
Children to listen.
She's also, in this turbulent zone in her home life where she's like this figural head, the father figure is somebody she does not respect and she doesn't like, and she's afraid of him, and he's bad. And
he's doing the same things.
She knows that he's wrong, and she is going to disobey him. And the parallel is drawn there to that she's being told by a figural head, don't do this, and so she's going to
break the rule,
disobey. It's supposed to be another like
cry for help.
No, it's just like another parallel drawn to like disobedience in the face of fascism. Which again, it's illustrated at a better point at the end of the movie. This one is kind of not
also the doctor scene.
That too, and that's happening in parallel. Mercedes and the doctor are stealing supplies to help the resistance, and she's stealing grapes from this guy that's hoarding resources. He's got all this food, and she's fucking starving because she hasn't eaten in 2 days. Mm-hmm. And the trials that she's being put through, they're not about perfection and obedience. They're about moral compass and wisdom and transcendence. And it's meant to illustrate a transitional thing. It's sort of like it's another end of her childhood kind of thing going on. The pale man eats two of the fairies. She manages to escape by drawing a hole in the ceiling, which I always was mad about. I was like, draw the hole in the floor. But I guess he can't get up to the I don't know, whatever. It was an escape route. Then
you want to fall through the floor.
I guess, it's a more accessible thing for him. He can fall through the floor and get in. But so she manages to escape. However, two of the fairies have died. So when the fawn visits and realizes that she's broken the rules and the consequences of the actions, she's lost two of these three fairies that have been accompanying her. He says that she broke the rules.
She loses the key.
She's never allowed to return. There were many versions of her before, and they've all failed, and you now will die amongst the humans, and you can't come back to us, and he disappears. And then her stepfather finds the mandrake root under the bed, and it's like the last piece of magic that she has left from that world. And the mandrake root, she's trying to replenish it. It's kind of drying out, or the milk's getting old or something. And so she has to feed it again. And he sees her under the bed, and she's not supposed to be in that room. She gets caught. And then he finds it, and he's like, what is this disgusting witchcraft? And he hands it to the mother, and the mother goes, you can't be doing this. Magic isn't real, not for you, not for me, not for anybody, and throws the mandrake root into the fire, and it twists and contorts and it dies and it's screaming. And that's like the last connection she has to that magical land at that time. And that, of course, but then I guess not quite, because she has the book still, and she goes to the book and she wants to know the next trial. Or no, she twists. No, that's sorry. The book thing happens before that, when she's bleeding out, and then they're like, she's really sick.
Yeah, because it has that thing where like you could see it's like it's supposed to represent a uterus bleeding, essentially, right? And then the mother keels over.
I'm misplacing like where that happened, and then she gets the mandrake root. Anyway, the mandrake root goes in the fire, and then her mother goes into labor or has an abruption or something. Something has gone wrong. And
I think it's the grape thing that coincides with his return to check in on things, with the mandrake root thing going, not working out after she goes to check on it a second time, right after he kind of was like you said,
right.
I'm done with you. From underneath the bed.
And then the doctor, they've captured one of the resistance. During a battle there, and they're torturing him. They're torturing him in like the stable, and the doctor, who is working for both sides, but kind of like sneakily for the military, but he's helping the resistance more so. He's kind of fearful, but he has been helping the resistance. They call him in. They're already kind of suspicious of him at that point, I think. They call him in to come and treat the guy they've been torturing, because they're trying to get him to talk. And he's real fucked up. His hand's like split in half. And he asked the doctor, he's like, just kill me. I already talked. I didn't tell them much, but I did talk. Please just kill me. And the captain starts going through the doctor's bag, finds one of these antibiotic vials that he had seen in a previous search party thing in the woods, where he found some of the supplies of the resistance and found a similar bottle. And then it's kind of a funny moment that he's like, wait a minute, and he has to run to his office to compare the bottles. And the doctor in that time span has administered morphine, a lethal dose of something, to put that guy out of his misery, the guy they captured and tortured. And the captain comes back, realizes that he has killed their only bargaining chip or something. And the doctor says to obey for the purpose of obedience is something only people like you do, and it's a dig. And he tries to leave, he gets shot, he dies. And that is kind of the parallel drawn to the disobedience of the Pale Man. Is like the doctor had this act of courageous disobedience, and Ophelia was doing the same thing, like not following orders just for the sake of orders, but then her having consequences to that, and the doctor also having unfortunate consequences to that as well.
Well, yeah, even in terms of the dialogue during that scene where he says that I'm not like you, I have the quote written down. It's one of my quotes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, but basically he says about the obedience thing in that moment. He says, hold on here, I have it here. To obey just like that for the sake of obeying without questioning, that's something only people like you can do. So that is basically like a blatant, like in the face of fascism type of deal. Like, no, I'm not just going to bend over and fucking listen.
I'm not just following orders
in this situation. Yeah. So like, that was kind of like his moment I mean, he knew, I think at that point that he was done for, but he basically turned his back on him and is like, I'm not playing your game anymore, essentially. And that was, like you said, in relation to what you were saying about how the parallels between them. he was also kind of like throwing that back in his face at that point. He's like, I'm done taking orders from you. I can't. You're somebody that can do that, which I thought was interesting. That was definitely one of the moments that stuck out to me. That part with the doctor, without he kind of he really stepped up in that moment, right? So, despite taking orders.
No, I forgot to say the thing that she gained from the trial with the pale man was this kind of ornate dagger that she gets at, which is another actually thing that the fairies are telling her. It's in the middle one. It's in the middle one. And it's another kind of disobedience, but it's also supposed to just like represent intuition. Then she's like, nope, it's in this one on the left, and whatever, she unlocks it and the dagger's in there, which is what she gained from that trial. And then the third trial, the fawn comes back, decides to give her a second chance. And her third trial is she has to bring her brother, who is born now and has killed the mother on the way out. The doctor was dead. The mother is in labor as that's happening, and it's going badly. The doctor has been killed, and now they have the military paramedic there as the one delivering, but the captain has already said, if you have to choose, save the baby. And so she dies. The baby is born, and the fawn comes back and says, your final trial is to bring the baby to the labyrinth at night for the final task. And meanwhile, in between all that, the resistance has gotten up to some stuff. They're like blowing up the supply shed. They've started like a big battle. They've created this distraction by putting a stoppage in front of the train that crashes, and then they blow up their supply shed and start this whole thing. Mercedes ends up getting caught, and she has her moment. There's a fucking badass moment too. So it's all this like foreshadowing things that come up with the paring knife that she keeps tucking into her apron just in case something happens, and she gets caught. There's like this bonus key floating around at the supply shed. The captain realizes that the lock wasn't forced and there must be another key. He's already got her sussed out as a spy at that point, but he doesn't act on it for some reason, which is like an interesting choice on his part. But
the housekeeper, I think he has for
that
I
he
wanted the boner at one point. Yeah,
I think so. I think like
the suspenders were coming off.
Yeah.
I think his I think with the wife dead, I think he was looking to hook up with her. I think next
spread another seed.
Gonna put the moves on her.
I think so. I think he was kind of like trying to sway her into some sort of obedience there, while at the same time, like you said, sussing out, even while knowing that she was responsible. I think he was hoping that he could kind of sway her. There was a lot of subtext there, I feel like, where he would have
between the lines.
Yeah, he would have went for her next, I feel like, in terms of like having an heir, let's say, because the
acting was good.
Point. Yeah,
the acting was good. You didn't even have to get that from the actual subtitles and stuff. I just got that from the visual and
I
thought the same
camera angles and stuff like that. The way they played it out, it made it look really captivating.
Like I think he was gonna make a move on her.
I mean, she was hot. I was looking at her too myself, but that's another reason. But I mean, I don't want to relate myself to him in any way because he was just a fucking dick. Yeah,
he's actually the guy that they cast to play Captain Vidal. He's actually a comedic actor.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and when he was casting, they were like, "This guy's not going to be able to play this part." And Del Toro was like, "Well, the funny thing about that is I don't fucking care." And then he cast him anyway. And
good job.
He did great. He did fucking great.
Well, to go back to a previous pick we just did a few weeks back, Django Unchained. What's this?
I hate I missed it.
Yeah, it sucks. You could have said the N-word. Sorry, Jay. No, what the hell's his name? Christoph Waltz was a soap opera guy.
Yeah.
So like
I can't even see that for him because we know too much.
But I'm just saying, it just goes to show you that like he was like one of the most despicable characters in Inglourious Bastards. And same thing though, like he was in a different type of, like in Germany, he was like more of like a drama, like a soap opera type of actor or whatever. and you know, and now he's a big movie actor in America, right? Like in
This
terms
goes
of,
to show you that typecasting fucks people over. You can't put people in a box. You gotta give them
but
a
I
shot.
also just think it has something to do with like different ethnicities, like different people like from around the world, their delivery and the way that they can sell stuff based off of their dialect. You know, it's just different. I don't know what it's like. That's why like the more like I start watching other foreign type films, like I understand. Like we talked about this when we talked about whatever the what was the one of the last ones that we talked about this when this discussion came up. We were talking about it when we talked about that trailer, The Left-Handed Girl, and how that was a new, I think that was is that a Chinese film? I think that one was, right?
It was Taiwan or something.
Yeah, there's like a whole world of other stuff that I feel like we are not exposed to.
We're not
or
exposed to at all.
we don't take the chance on as much, where there's still good stuff to be found there, right? It just like that's why, Jay, you got to branch out with some of these
Our fucking senior foreign film correspondent Max isn't here to tell us and sing the praises.
Yeah, he's a little
the
bit
second foreign film I've watched this year.
He's a little bit more cultured, I'll say, in terms of that kind of stuff, for sure. Like, there's only certain movies I feel like I've seen now that are foreign that are just the big ones, right? Like, there's ones that
I feel like it's effortless for him to take a chance on a foreign film, though.
Yeah, not me. There is still like for me a little bit like of like I need to
lead me into it a little.
I need to hear a lot about this foreign film before I actually waste my time with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to say it's a waste of time, but yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, sometimes we don't know what to look for necessarily, right? But
it's funny because you keep picking ones that are fucking like that are actually keeping me interested too, which is like I find that really cool too. You're good at surprising us that way.
Yeah, I try. This is one of my top ones. It's fucking up there. I don't want to
here, Julie. I don't know. Where are you?
No, what do I do next?
You're gonna have to leave the show. You're like,
where's it gonna go? Go on with my title.
I have no other movies that I like.
I'm out. Yeah, no, I get more. I'll think of something. I'll come up with something interesting. We'll switch it up. I'll do something fucking silly in between. Who knows? I don't want to gloss over like the war components of what's going on. There's obviously a lot of active stuff going on in reality also while this is all happening. But just to round out the point that I'm making here. Oh, I missed a point actually. There's some kind of metaphorical representation going on with Captain Vidal stuff. Like obviously he's fucking evil. He's the bad guy. He's the representation of bad. But his office is designed in a way to represent the inside of a watch. He has this kind of obsessive thing with the watch going on. Which
I wish they spent a little bit more time on that, to be honest with you. That's one we didn't really get into any dislikes. That's one thing now that you mentioned it, I wish they spent a little bit more time exploring,
like developing his character more,
because that stuff was so good, that watch thing that they ended on that with his character and how they briefly mentioned it. And there's that one scene where he like pulls the watch out of his pocket, but then
repairing it.
Nice, yeah.
But I feel like I'm glad that he didn't do like a flashback, because like we see that so often in things where like I get sick of it at a certain point. But like I just feel like you could have explored. That was the one thing about the character that it felt like he was trying to get you to like not humanize him, but yeah, I guess so in a way. Like try to like he was like, oh, like it's his father's fault the way he's like this or something.
It's kind of polarizing sort of feeling about like, is he bad or was he? Yeah.
Because like, let's be honest, in his mind, he isn't the bad guy. He's doing what he thinks is right? I mean, I know that's messed up to say but every war there's two sides, right? So like in his head, he's doing what he thinks he has to do. So,
but there's a flaw in that as a logic, though. Separate of this, so like his office is meant to look like the inside of a watch, or it's designed that way, which apparently is meant to reflect his troubled mind and the broken watch and all this stuff.
Okay.
The mirror, if you're paying attention to these sort of intricate his obsessive thing about his image, this sort of vanity component to him, this shaving ritual he's doing, he's got to play this very patriotic music, and it's this sort of thing he's doing in this very ritualistic fashion. and it starts. I don't think it's the first time he's shaved. I think it's the second time.
Yeah, where he
He's
splits
holding up the mirror and he puts his straight razor up, and it sort of feigns his own cutting his own throat.
It does it so that he's like finishing that line. It makes it look like he's cutting himself right through the mirror.
It's him doing it to his reflection.
Yeah.
And it was always kind of confusing to me at first because I was like, I don't really understand why that's part of his little ritualistic thing he's doing. But
I found it too because I wanted to see what the fuck he was doing. If he was trying to cut his neck, or if he was actually doing something to his beard, like it caught my attention.
Like a masochist or something.
No, he just went.
No, it's like it
was weird. It was just the way.
I know which part you guys are talking about, but I didn't pick up on that in terms of relevancy. That's interesting. Okay.
It's got to do with something about his pride falling apart. But like, if you pay attention to the following stuff in his office, like any of those scenes, the mirror becomes more and more scratched and distorted as it goes on because it's part of this habitual thing he's been doing. And it's got to do. It's also kind of. It's foreshadowing also, but like it has to do with like the growing illustration to us as the audience of his monstrous nature as the movie goes on. But like it always kind of confused me as a point because like I always thought it was like he knows he's the bad guy and it's him.
So it's an inner struggle with himself, essentially.
That's what I interpret it as. I couldn't find anybody online to corroborate that line of thinking.
See, but that kind of does tie into what I was saying because, like, he may be trying to live up to this perception that he had of his father and the man that he was, because it's all daddy issue type stuff here, right? Like, that's the thing, because there's even that scene during the dinner that they're having that you talked about earlier, where there's that one military guy that's there. There's like, I knew your father, by the way, and he mentions that story about the watch. Yes. And he's basically just like, he just dismisses it. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about that, like that watch story or whatever. Like, he kind of was just like, he just kind of skims past it because he doesn't want to get into it. Because he says, I heard this tale of him cracking the watch and blah, 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 blah. And that's the first time you kind of hear that, but you see him looking at the watch earlier, but you don't really know the history behind it. And then when he mentions that, he just doesn't want to acknowledge it, right? So I thought that was interesting, I thought, right?
Like, so here's my thing about that particular thing. It actually is the only unanswered question or the unique question I have about the movie, but it fits here, so I'm going to ask it now.
Sure.
Do we think that this might be kind of loose. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything in the dialogue where this has already been explained, but do we think that he fixed the watch in the beginning because there's two things it could have been. It's either he didn't know that that's why the watch got broke, and he didn't know the significance of, like, this is when I died. I want you to know this is that. Like, he didn't know that story until that the mayor tells him that. Or did he fix it in advance, knowing his death is coming soon? You think so?
Yeah, it's the lot. For me, he knew the story. The way he kind of.
Who knew the story? He did, or adult?
Yes, he knew the story.
He says to the mayor, "I never heard it. He didn't own a watch."
Right. That's bullshit.
And
he sure heard that. That's why he held it so. Like, that was why it was so significant to him. The watch, like, that's, and he even went on to say that at the end. He actually took the opportunity to say the same thing, or that he wanted.
It's an element of his obsession with legacy.
Right. But that was like him saying, okay, the jig is up. And then he was going to say basically the same thing. There's no way he knew there's no way he didn't know prior to him saying that. He just didn't want to acknowledge that was the case in that moment. I think it's more, if it's anything, I think it's what you said is that the second thing you said was
he knows that his death is imminent.
Time was up. Yes, exactly. Yeah,
interesting.
Which is like,
I like that better.
Even in and of itself, someone's time being up with the significance of a watch, and the whole time that he is that he died and all that kind of stuff. That's what I mean. I think that's why I wish it was. Although now that we're talking about it, I guess he really didn't have to add anything to this story element. I just really wish that they did. I thought it would have been cool to know a bit more about this character, because these evil characters in these movies are always some of the most interesting characters, right? Like, so then there's a reason why this whole war story works. It's based off of this guy. Like, this is the reason why this whole
think
story
he
works.
fixed it because he thought he was going to die, or you think he just figured
That's the question.
So I always thought
he did it because he wanted to. He heard the question, like he heard the story about it, in that sense of how this is when the time you're supposed to die, and so he went to fix it purposely just because he didn't want that to be him, right? Not because
I don't know. I always thought that they gave him this broken watch. When the first few times I watched it, and I didn't know, like, I wasn't looking into the layering of everything. The first few times I thought he's just fixing it, and then I kind of, even still, like, I can't even remember where that scene is placed amongst when that happens. This whole thing where he's slicing his reflection in the mirror. Because if it comes after that conversation at the dinner table, that's what plays into my narrative about he didn't know the significance of the broken watch, and he'd fixed it and he'd ruined it, essentially, like, to like the legacy of the watch.
Right.
By fixing it, he's wrecked the legacy of the watch, and his pride is hurt by that. The legacy is a little bit hurt by that. So he's feeling the pride. He's fucked up his pride, and that's why he's doing this fucking suicidal shit in the mirror. But I could be wrong about where that straight razor bit is placed in relationship to the watch thing, because when he hears the story at the table and he's dismissive of it, it's, to me, it always read as like he's hearing it for the first time, but he dismisses it because of shame.
No, yeah, and pride. That's what that's what it is. Like, and I think, like, again, this is like a classic living in your father's shadow type of scenario.
Right.
And you got to remember, from the start of this film, the walls are closing in on him. Like, these are the final throes of this battle that he's been having with these guys out in the woods.
With the resistance,
tail. This is coming to the end of what we have come to, like, the way they set it up is that it's been an ongoing scenario between these guys, right? Like, which is like we're just kind of seeing the final stages of this whole thing that's been playing out during this war. Like, right? So, like, and he's not in a great position. They're having to ration stuff out to families. He's like he's on a power trip. I think it's just like he knows that things are not like good at the moment, and I think he's he's reeling from it. Yeah, he's worried about everything that's happening, and I think this is just as a result of all that. Like, that's why I think it's so important for him. Again, another parallel, the father aspect. He needs this baby to be his son. He knows, right? He's like, oh no, get the
to be a guy,
right, because he needs
that. He's going to name this child he's a junior. He's going to name this kid whatever his name is, the third. Yeah. And so it's the legacy.
So, yeah, you know what? I take back my comment from earlier. I really don't think he needed to add anything to this, because we just really had a whole conversation about it based off of the little information they gave us about the watch and this character and everything else there. Honestly, there's enough meat to chew on there, honestly. Like,
so obviously the last trial, she brings the baby. She's running from the captain. He's dosed with the opium, but not enough, apparently, to fucking run through the woods and after her. But she's bringing the baby to the labyrinth, to the core of the labyrinth where the gateway is. And the fawn is there waiting. She has to run through this maze. Things kind of open up for her, and the captain sort of gets held back a little bit by the intricacy of the maze. But she makes it to the portal, and the fawn is there waiting with the blade and says, we need a blood of an innocent, which is when she comes to realize that her brother is the innocent that he's asking for the blood for. But he's saying, oh, it's only a pinprick. But she protects him and says no. And it's another, courageous or righteous disobedience, which is similar to earlier. It's just another illustration of the same thing. The captain shows up behind her, sees her there. She's talking to no one. He can't see the fawn. He doesn't know that she's just there holding the son. And the fawn steps away, and he is argumentative about it and says you risk your your eternal life to protect this brat. You don't even know him. He's just a kid. You don't even know this baby. And she's like, but he's innocent. He's pure. We can't hurt him. And she chooses protecting the innocent life over the getting to re-enter the kingdom and complete this trial. And then inevitably gets shot by the stepfather, who takes the baby. Her body's there. She's still alive, but she's bleeding out. He takes the baby out through the maze, and the resistance is waiting there, and he's cooked. He's done. He hands over the child to Mercedes. He does his whole speech about, smashes the watch and says, give this to my son. Tell him. And she says, no, he won't even know your name. And they fucking kill him, and he's done. Yeah. And then they go through the maze. They find her body there, and her hand is sort of laid over the well of the maze, or the labyrinth, and the cat is here clawing my leg.
Yeah.
And her blood spilling on the gateway of the labyrinth opens up the portal, or her experience of it anyway, and we see her entering this magical kingdom with all her fairy friends. The faun is there, the king and the queen, her parents are there, and he's welcoming her back. And then we get this kind of flashback moment into reality where Mercedes is there over her body singing this lullaby tune that is consistent throughout the film.
Yeah.
As she dies.
Yeah.
And the summary of everything is the film is essentially about the death of a martyr. Like, she
interesting
died protecting a belief. It's not a religion, but she died protecting a belief system that she had.
Yeah,
and her death.
Yeah.
The film is about living on forever and choosing how you die.
And the less become.
And the stark contrast to the captain's obsession with legacy, and his legacy being these acts of fucking cruelty and suffering at his own hands amongst on these people, because he's a military captain, torturing people and this whole, fascist government thing. And Ophelia's legacy being this bravery, kindness, compassion, moral righteousness, and having earned her eternal life through protecting the innocent in the face of her death. And that's what the movie is about.
Sure. I mean, it is. It is. No, it is.
In English.
No, it is absolutely. I'll stray from the idea that anything actually was rewarded to her there at the end, because I think that was just in the recesses of her mind, and that didn't actually happen.
But that's her experience of her death. Like, that doesn't matter. Yeah. But
right. But the intention of it, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't want you to be so blunt and be like, yeah, sure, whatever. No. I do not go the route of like that actually happened to her though. But yes, the point is illustrated nonetheless to the viewer, right? Like that was what. Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. But
I also see like the weak become the many, like the less become the more, and especially with the resistance there and all that, with coming out right that, and then you're always losing. You got to lose one for more to succeed, right? Like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what she was at the end. Is just unfortunately she knew what was going on with the whole
Julie sacrificing. Said she was a martyr. She was a symbol for everybody.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I also I seen a religious part to that too, where she thinks that she might be going up to heaven to see her parents. That which is kind of like there's so many different interpretations of this, and I couldn't believe this because just like I said, I didn't realize it was going to be that.
It really comes together
of a film, and like to be honest with you, I didn't believe it. I thought, what the fuck am I going to watch? I got to read.
Maybe you should trust your friends more often, there, Jay.
I'm not saying I don't trust anybody. It's just that sometimes it's hard, man. Like it's hard to do two things but you get what I'm saying. Like,
I will say it was hard to take notes during this one because of the subtitles.
Yeah. Having to pay attention.
It's way harder to take notes.
I have quotes, man. I don't know how to do quotes for this one too.
Write them down in English. You just tell them to us. Yeah. My only counterpoint to Nico's Nico's belief that this was all in her head, which is something I saw online. I can't credit where credit is due. It is not my own idea.
Do you not? This theory. I was about to say, did you not think what I thought though? The originally when you saw this movie, I mean, it's pretty.
That it's all in her head.
Yeah.
No, I didn't really lean into that.
Interesting.
I didn't lean into that, but I don't dispute that that's like an interpretation of what's going on at all. But that's not how
I
I
actually would argue it's very clear that that's the case.
The only counterpoint to that is that she, at the end, before the last trial, when she doses the captain, she gains entry to that guarded room with this chalk.
Yeah,
it's the only thing that sort of breaks that. But again, that's something I found online.
You're saying about whether this whole fairy tale.
She goes, "How am I going to get into that room? It's guarded." And he says, "Make your own door." And he hands her that piece of chalk, and she gains entry to the room.
But question, but you guys are arguing that this whole thing is the whole actual.
You could just ask a question without saying question, right?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that.
Yes, little boy in the front row. What is your question?
I didn't want to put my hand up or anything like that either.
That's usually a better way about going
but
about it.
But you guys
not hearing them.
You guys are talking about like. Oh, fuck yourself.
Go ahead, Jay. Go fuck yourself. Before you forget what you had to say, go ahead.
Yeah, it's already done. It's already forgotten. No, you're talking about this whole storybook in itself. You're thinking that's in her head, like this whole fake world. Yeah,
Nico says that's all in her imagination, and none of that is happening.
You're seeing her talking to something that's not there at one point.
Yeah, but you're seeing it through her
Extra eyes. For kids, dude. No, come on.
You're seeing it through. You're seeing it through the captain's eyes.
No, you're not. That's why there's that scene at the end. The captain doesn't see her talking to anybody. There's no one there.
That's Jay's making a point that
exactly.
There's two perspectives in that scene. Something. There's one of her, but that's also to Nico's point. It's like it's in her head because she's talking to the fawn that she can see, and the captain can't see him.
Yeah, it's in imagination.
And the captain was high during that scene.
But it's like somebody taking a picture of somebody else. It's like somebody taking a picture of somebody else. You know what I mean? In that sense, because you're looking at it from the captain's perspective, seeing somebody talking to something like she should be on pills because she's kind of crazy.
Usually, when you show a scene of breaking that wall of a character,
is it happening or not?
Yes. There's a reason why people add scenes like that into things. That is not just, it's very purposeful. It's to try to illustrate the idea that there is the possibility that this has not actually been happening this whole time. And every scene that happens that has a fantastical element in this film is through her perspective, not somebody else's perspective. It's from her perspective. Even the
until
scene
that point, though.
Right. And then it proves that there was nothing there. It's her experience.
She could be sleepwalking. She could be.
No, it's about escapism. It's about escapism.
It's just about her making the reality not reality. That's her reality is terrible.
I almost felt like when she was supposed to try to give the baby, and then she said no afterwards. In her mind, she might have been talking to the captain, right? In her head, if she was sleeping,
but they show him behind,
No, but let's say if she was sleeping, if she was actually sleeping in her head, like something's going on there. There is a little trick scene to that part where she's holding the baby, because that's where I felt like. It was like she was talking to the goat guy almost as he was like the captain at that point, saying give me the baby. Like he was saying give me the baby. She was saying no, be protective, but he was also kind of coming in that scene too as well at the same point.
It's just supposed to illustrate the disobedience thing of like not following orders, of like doing the right thing in the face of.
I get that, but I'm just seeing it as a visual point, like as opposed to a written, like maybe a factual statement, but just seeing it as a visual played out, like because a lot of this, I was visually getting the story told to me too, as opposed. I mean, I was reading it, but it was help. A lot of it was being filled by the way they were acting. Predominantly because they were great actors. They were really good actors, but it was making me think about going into a whole other aspect of it, right? Like, was she just cuckoo at one point, or was she, like Nico says, sleeping?
Well, that's a huge part.
He didn't say she was sleeping.
No, I didn't say.
Or was it a dream? But I'm thinking sleepwalking.
Imagining. It's like imagining it.
Imagination. It's like when people suppress You know, like people suppress
Emotions?
horrible. No, let me finish my
Hold on.
thought. It's when people like suppress horrible things that have happened to them. This was her way of coping with what was happening.
By making up a story about
Like somebody taking a beating all their life or whatever and having to push that
Exactly.
aside. And yeah,
They go into a part of their brain where they have to access something to make sure that they can see through the situation reality of how shitty their life is. And that was this
Survivor.
girl's that was this girl's experience, especially when the mother dies. When the mother dies, she's
That's huge.
literally stuck with this
she's
captain.
alone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is terrible what happens there, right?
because
Like,
anything can happen to her. She's like, no, she's not even his kid.
that's what I'm trying to say, though. So at the end there, where the POV is from the captain's, like from
Point
the
of view.
captain, he doesn't
Yeah.
see her talk. She's supposedly sitting there talking to the fawn.
That's the fourth wall break.
and there's
He's saying is
nobody
illustrating.
There's
But
no.
also, he was supposed to be drugged up too because
That's what I'm
she
saying.
put
So
something in the
if
drink.
he isn't seeing anything,
Yeah,
so
right?
what does that tell you? It's not real, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's very clear cut.
No, you got I agree with your that does make sense. Is that's the
And-
illustrative point of showing that POV is that it's not happening. It's not real.
But that makes it so much more of a tragic ending than we even. That's why when it comes together at the end there, and I'm guessing that's the part maybe you cry at because
Yeah, of course.
it's probably the saddest moment. See, I'm able to identify when there's sad moments in movies, unlike some cold ass people. But anyways,
Mhm.
No, you just shots fired today, like everywhere.
Give the fucking trophy to Nico. He
let's
saw
hear
it. He identified it. He knew
Yeah.
it was sad.
so yeah, but I didn't cry. But at the same time, it's like.
Watch the other one. Don't watch it with him. Just watch it by yourself.
No, you know what though? I can identify where that would have been sad because it kind of all comes crashing down at that point, and then he kills a kid on top of everything else.
Yeah, we don't need to watch anything about killing a kid. Yeah, it's
It's terrible. It's terrible. So, yeah, I mean, the culmination of everything at the end of the movie, really, like you said, you want to do the chef's kiss. Like it's for that for me. It's good stuff there at the end. Like but that's how I took it because this again, like you said, this is a harsh reality of a war movie, right? Like it's not all fairies and fucking whatever fawns, and this is I think that was like her whole escapism type of to this, right? So.
Mhm.
But it's open for interpretation for sure. If you want to believe that actually happened with her, it'll actually make you probably think, have a happier ending of sorts to this film, like you guys were talking about earlier, right? Like,
Yeah. To choose your own ending.
yeah.
Yeah,
So.
and he goes like straight up, tell you, fuck you. If you this is how it is. Straight up. I got no feelings towards
It
this.
makes for a better movie. To
I got
think
no
about it
feelings
that way.
towards
In
it.
his
I'm
version,
telling you, I'm gonna make
where
it
he's like, well, it's all fucking fake, and she's actually
more
dying.
powerful. Yeah,
it
it's
makes
more
it a more
powerful.
powerful movie.
It's more powerful. Yeah, exactly. Like that.
Yep.
That's the reality of things in this film, right? So,
Yep.
but yeah, good stuff. Anything, Julie? I know you just went through the whole like plot of the film here and comparing everything. Is there anything else you want to say on that though, like comparative type stuff?
Nope.
The meanings behind things? No,
that was pretty much it. It was all just the trials were each meant to represent particular allegories of the war times and this fascist government that was in charge during this time in Spain, and how each thing was meant to represent something that was a fear or
I definitely would be looking at it differently now going into the next viewing of this movie, which I definitely will do at some point. Did you want to highlight any favorite scenes, quotes?
One more thing that just changes. It's not a representation of anything. It's just kind of a detail. Is that when she first meets the fawn, he's sort of looking sickly. He's kind of got cataracts. His hair is gray. He's covered in dirt and moss and bullshit. And as she's doing the trials and it's going on, he's like getting life back. His eyes clear up. His hair goes back to its natural color. His skin clears up. It's just like he's getting life back from her believing in it.
I didn't realize that. That's interesting. The other thing, though, I will say here is that I realize I mentioned to Christine, and she agreed with my assessment of this, that she, I guess, had realized this before. It's very interesting. Like, I didn't realize this till later in the film. There's a whole scene where she first meets the fawn, and he, like, when she goes in the labyrinth, and he's like, "Oh yeah, look at this statue. This is me, and this is you." And she's like, "Who's the baby?" And then he just, like, totally ignores the question. Yeah. He just, like, changes the subject. Very smart, right? Like, it was just like again, but you don't actually realize the significance of that scene until, like, halfway through the film, like, later on, or sorry, 3/4 through the way through the film. And then you're like, and then I actually thought about that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That was clearly purposeful, like the way they kind of played that out, right?
There's a lot of, like, symbolism to Pan, like the fawn throughout the film. Like, the tree itself could be, instead of like a uterus shape, if we're really reading into that one, it could just be the shape of his horns. The shape of his horns is on the head of the bed frame that the mother's in. The gateway to the labyrinth has his like the shape of his head and his horns above it. Like, his symbolism is, like, laid throughout the film. And what's part of mythology, like, the original Spanish title of the movie is called The Labyrinth of the Fawn, whereas the English title is Pan's Labyrinth. If we know anything about Pan, he's, like, kind of a mischievous mythological figure. He's also an unfortunate reality of Pan is a god of sexuality also.
Well, also, like, Pan is like that Shakespeare character Puck, which is basically, there's the Greek, there is a connection between Greek gods, mythology type stuff too, with the half goat, half man, like fawn type creature. And in Shakespeare, there's that character Puck in one of those Shakespeare plays. I think it's Midsummer's Night's Dream, I think, right? Which is also about, I think that's the one, but that's what Puck is essentially, is like, he is a creature like that's similar to that as well, like, which is half man, half goat. So there is a correlation between that kind of stuff as well, between these two, right? Like, it's interesting that I'm sure that's where Shakespeare got it from. I think it's more Greek mythology, like mythological creature type stuff, right? The fawns,
It's like, as Pan is like as a mythological creature, is got a more, like, sinister component to him. So, like, there's a lot of fan theory stuff about Pan in the movie, the fawn in the movie.
So we'll jump ahead with my question now. That was my question. He's kind of a bad guy, this character. He's very deceitful. He's deceiving. He's, like, leading her along. She's manipulating her. But then the weird thing is, he turns around at the end and is almost like, oh yeah, that was just a trial. You made the right decision. And now you're here with us in eternity, like, at the end.
Underworld.
Right. But that's
Here's
what I mean.
Happiness.
But it's the underworld, right? And then, like, it says her father, who is a tailor, is technically the king of the underworld. And, like, that's where she has. So, like, that part of the movie is weird. Like, and also, like, there is both flip sides to the fairies. Like, fairies are actually vicious creatures.
Vicious.
That's what I mean. So, like, it's interesting, but they only show you, like, the good side, but then they can turn on a dime and, like, fucking become vicious, like, actual, like, flesh-eating creatures as well, fairies, because I've seen them depicted in other things that way.
They're eating flesh in the movie.
Which one?
He feeds them flesh in the movie.
Yeah, that's right. He's sitting there. That's right. But they don't show them with, like, their mean face, essentially. Like,
no, they don't. Yeah, but yeah, and they've kind of modeled themselves against her storybook of, like, this is what it's supposed to look like, and then they kind of, like, they have this metamorphosis of, like, becoming this kind of girlish figure with these leafy wings, and it's kind of this femininity component.
Also, like, some of those Hans Christian Andersen fucking, like, those, like, old fairy tales where, like, you know, like,
where
there's all these brutal ends and kids die and stuff like that. Yeah, like the Pied Piper and stuff.
It's a little more maybe morality, like
a morality
closer to how they're actually told, like closer to that representation than instead of this fucking Disneyfied version of everything, right?
Which I'm sure in Spanish cultures it is more of a darker version in, like, Mexico and this kind of stuff, because they so, like, that's why I'm sure this, like, for him, this is where a lot of this stuff he's pulling from, right?
But it's acknowledged too that Pan is, like, is a, or the fawn, whatever. He's that he is kind of a deceitful figure. Like fawns are a deceitful creature because Mercedes says, "My mother told me to be wary of fawns."
Right, but that's the whole thing. Like, it's funny because like he's almost a bad guy in this film. Like he could be interpreted as such throughout the whole film until the end. So
he's like the Grim Reaper.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
She's gonna die. He's come to guide her through her death.
Yeah, through the underworld. Yeah. Like the river Styx. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
I've only just come to that realization.
Yeah,
that he's a vessel. He's whatever the guy's name that takes her across the river.
Yeah. I didn't actually see her guide. Yeah, and she's basically completing trials to basically allow her entryway into this afterlife. Yeah. So that is some mythology. That is like a lot of Greek god type shit as well.
Yep.
Like they're pulling from there.
Death of a martyr.
Mythology. Yeah. See, there you go.
Because if she didn't complete these trials to prove her worthy of entry, she'd be stuck in the Lost Soul River.
Well, it's kind of like almost like the whole thing with the Garden of Eden thing where she ate the forbidden fruit, right? Like that was kind of what happened in this, where he basically came to her and he's like, "I'm turning my back on you. You failed your test. You're not being allowed in here." Right? It's interesting that there's a lot to that. Did you want to highlight any of your favorite scenes or quotes, Julie? I know we discussed some things at length here, but do you want to just mention the ones that are your favorite?
We talked about the one, like the whole conversation with the mayor and the captain about the story of the watch, that the men in his battalion said that when the general died on the battlefield, he smashed his watch on a rock so that his son would know the exact hour and minute of his death, so that he would know how a brave man dies.
Yeah.
And he says, nonsense, he didn't own a watch. And then later on, he says, tell my son the time his father died. And she said, no, he won't even know your name. And then they shoot him right in the fucking face.
Mm-hmm.
I also, a line that makes me laugh is that guy one of the resistance that's in the cave there. He said, let's see how that leg is doing, French. And he goes, how do you think it's doing? It's fucked up.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll try to
brutal scene.
I'll try to do it in as many as few cuts as possible. He says to him, right?
That just goes.
There's two instances of a quick cut that's done so well, and one of them is that scene where they're like,
you do see it going in, but then it cuts right away.
With the effects, with the sound effects. This kind of like fleshy sound, and then it almost grinds against the bone. And there's one other quick cut that I forget what it is. But it's just like it cuts away right at the right moment. Like you just barely see some kind of brutal death, and then it cuts away right away.
Yeah.
These kind of flashes of brutality that are throughout the film, it's edited so well. It's just another thing I noticed.
It's when he's beating him in the face at the start, that guy.
That goes on long. That's not it. I don't know. It could be
a shot in the face. One of them. I think one of the
one
shots
of those. Yeah, something. And then they sort of spend that time on. Oh, that's another great scene too. Actually, the after he gets the smiley cut there from Mercedes with the paring knife, and he goes back to his fucking shaving ritual, and he takes his shot, and it bleeds through the gauze.
Oh yeah,
he stitched his face up. What a great scene!
I'm glad that they showed that, because I'm like,
leakage.
There's no way this guy's drinking shots and not infecting the wound even more.
No, but it's surprised it's not leaking. That's what I was hoping it was going to see too, right? That's what was good about it, right? Because you can tell that this guy did a stitching job, but it's
nice attention to detail, a nice choice on his part for doing that. Yeah,
there's also, again, just to give my praise to the editing, the color filtration or color grading differences they do between these contrasting scenes of when you can tell she's in Fantasyland, where she's entering Fantasyland. This green and gold kind of filtration is on everything. Mm-hmm. Everything's very green. And then when she's back, and everything that takes place in reality has got this gray wash to it. So, and everything is all very linear, all these structural things. There's a lot of hard corners, straight lines. And when she's in Fantasyland, everything is rounded and kind of, there's all these visual representations of when she's in each version of life.
Mm-hmm.
Just little detail things.
I echo what you said about like the watch parts with the captain. Something like the brutality that the captain does throughout the film, like like the torture scene or him beating that guy up the front at the start, were in like brutal scenes, but it's stuff I enjoyed in it. And it is really though all about the ending for me. I think the ending's brilliant, how everything comes together there, and like you said, how she shoots him and he comes out and he knows the jig is up, as well as the Pale Man scene. I love the Pale Man scene. Just like the look of that character, I think is so creepy. And when he chases her and the way that he has to move around, and like it's a struggle for him to be able to like look around and have to feel and stuff like that. I like the whole scene when she goes down there and she sees all the paintings on the wall, like of him eating children and like killing children and all this kind of stuff, and just like how that doesn't seem to phase her for whatever reason, where I would be like scared shitless, I need to get out of here, right?
With
But
all
like,
this pile of shoes in the corner, children's shoes, like
which I didn't realize that is very relevant to war, because that's like an Auschwitz, that's like a World War II thing. There was that whole scene of all the Jews shoes from when they put them in the incinerator. Like there was an actual like scene of all that where there was a pile, like I think they have like they took pictures of it or something. It's like a thing that's known from the war. Like there's
that could be drawing a parallel to what Hitler was doing.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm referring
that
to.
Could be Hitler. Yeah.
It was all like a whole thing. That's like a wartime kind of World War II like actual image that they were illustrating there. But that's the stuff for me that was like really good. Like between all the stuff with the captain and that Pale Man scene specifically. And the doctor scene. That scene where he takes a stand is excellent. I think that's great too. I mentioned the quote earlier from the doctor that I really like, and one more quote I'll throw out there right now is when the housemaid woman, I forgot her name, Mercedes. She says, "You're getting older soon. You'll see real life is not like your fairy tales. The world is a cruel place." Like or was that her mother that says that?
I think it's her mother.
It's her mother, yes, because this is when she tells her after like the stepfather, like she says, stop being disobedient to him. This is after the whole thing with the baby under the bed, the mandrake.
The mandrake, yeah, it was Carmen's telling her like the world is cruel. Yeah,
that's right. Because Mercedes was actually like
Mercedes,
trying to.
She's like a stand-in mother figure, though.
Yeah, Mercedes was the one that was like have your fun with this fairy tale stuff, whatever. I remember, as a kid, I used to believe in this stuff. Like she's more okay
with real life kicks in.
Right. But the mother says that to her because the mother is stuck in this situation where she's with this dictatorish captain guy. And like, she's like, I did this for the betterment, I thought, of her family, essentially. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in this situation. Like, you need to snap back to reality. Like, sometimes you have to accept your lot in life, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where she was like a defeated woman. Like, and then there was that whole thing that she said too about how, like,
when they met,
with the thing about her crying and she's talking to the baby and she's like, yeah, you'll see my mother. She's always
she's sad all the time.
Yeah. That was a really sad moment too, when she said that, where she's like, there's glimpses of like who I used to remember as my mother. And like, that's what will make you love her. Yeah. But to anybody else around her, like she's sad all the time and she hates her life, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
You'll like her. She's really pretty.
Yeah. I like
when she smiles, but she's sad all the time.
It's very sad though, like what she said about her, right?
Yeah.
But those are the ones that stuck out to me that you didn't mention there. You got anything, Jay?
No, I didn't get anything for quotes, man. I couldn't get just me alone. I was able to see the Spanish. I wasn't able to write down the quotes, to be honest with you, but there was some good, like I said, with the scenes and everything too. There was great quotes and everything in between. Hard to determine. I don't think if they would come out correctly for me.
What are your favorite scenes?
Half the movie the whole movie was great for me. I mean, I just like the way the resistance and everything got bigger slowly throughout the movie, and then how they even right up to the end, where how it plays out, where she's laying there at the side and how the scenes cut in and out. You guys were saying it throughout the movie there, throughout the show here. You were picking a lot of the great scenes out of it, right? It's just to be honest with you, I don't even know. I mean, with him too, he was getting so adamant to make sure that the baby stays alive and stuff like that. I like that whole rollout right into the ending part of the film where she kind of gives up herself as like that the person who changes everything and kind of brings everything to its final end. And
Mhm.
I think probably one of the favorite scenes I have is when he gets shot in the head at the end. When he's trying to say, tell your son.
Oh, fucking
Yeah,
roll
tell your son.
word.
That was probably a good quote too, right? Tell my son that his father and
Yeah, we all had that scene. That's
yeah,
Yeah.
that quote there is just got to be the the
Where
top
he
one.
gets his just desserts.
Yeah, that scene there is just where he gets it, and they're just holding the baby. Yeah, it leaves you to interpret now what's going on next, right? And what's going on. But that whole underground, seeing how she can make that with the chalk, I just like that whole going into that fairy tale world, right? And having your own little escape from reality in that sense. Because really, without that whole without the captain and anything, she was going to be nobody, right?
Mhm.
We without the mother being alive and surviving it, and was it Mercedes there, the maid there?
Mhm.
Yeah, she by her doing kind of being close with her, kind of played really good with this whole story too, with her able to figure out life and kind of it's a big part of growing up, everything too that's going on here with her too there, right?
Mhm.
I got that part out of it too, right? But
Mhm.
it was like it was a fantasy for me just watching it itself, right? It was just really great the way it was pulled out.
There was some other fan theories about when the fawn says that there have been many iterations of you before you and they've all failed and you're just another one. That the fan theory is that Mercedes could have been one of the failed princesses to the underworld.
To the underworld.
Like that she could have, because I used to believe in them. Oh, my mother told me to be wary of fawns. Like she kind of has all these little points of like
Right.
she has some connection to the storytelling or memory of it or whatever, that she could have been one of the failed trials, one of the failed princesses.
Mhm.
But it's a fan theory. It's not established anywhere in my actual
Right.
defined research.
What else we got here? Questions. I think I threw mine out
did 'em.
already. Yeah, you threw out yours. I threw out the fact that whether or not like that the fawn was a bad guy or not. We talked about the interpretation of the ending. Jay, did you have any specific
Yeah,
things?
really, just the only thing was if she was awake or not at that, and the whole in that interpretation.
He
If she
was
was
awake and everything. I don't know why you keep saying there.
no, but
I'm hearing into sleepwalking.
No, that's
but the whole like dream sequence and all that. Like if
no
it
one
was a
said dream sequence. No, it's
if it
was
was a
it in
dream,
her head or not?
all right, okay,
Was it in her head or not? Is what I said. Nothing about dreaming or sleepwalking.
okay.
Yeah,
It wasn't in her head. Yeah, it wasn't in her head.
Okay.
That was really about it.
I just want to clarify, make sure we're on the same page here.
I am. I'm basically
The
saying
whole movie was a dream.
What's that?
right? I was just saying my interpretation of it. That's
Do you
all.
think she may have been dreaming?
Well, I think she may have just been, in her sense, could have been, walking around just talking to things like, in that sense, right? Just maybe even crazy, bro. Back then, who knows at that point, right? With no modern medicine, right? Antibiotics in a vial there.
Opium in a bottle.
Opium in a bottle. She could be just tripping out, bro.
Very true.
Right?
Very
The whole
true.
time. So
We'll never know.
until we get a little, hit of that magic medicine that they had.
While we're on the topic here, why don't you give us your movie pairings there, Jay? Do you have anything for this or no?
It was just funny. Why don't we? I don't know. Pair the other Labyrinth where it's night. You can go walk upside down with Billy.
That's a good
with
pairing.
David Bowie, right?
I pulled this up for this
Turning the whole world
specific.
upside down.
I pulled this up for this specific note on this because I've had it as one of my pairings too. It's actually it's very similar.
I can see it's that underground, like sort of the way she goes into that thing. It's you're upside down, sort of. You're in his world.
The plot of Labyrinth is it's a 16-year-old girl who is given 13 hours to solve a labyrinth and rescue her baby brother, when her wish for him to be taken away is granted by the Goblin King, which is
David Bowie.
Yeah.
This is, the GOAT is David Bowie, basically, bro.
The fact that there's a baby brother and there's like this kind of antagonist that like you don't know whether or not he's on the like there's like some it is very similar.
It's the English version of this kind of in that sense.
And it was made earlier too.
Little rock and roll twist to it.
The original.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Labyrinth. I enjoy it. Yeah.
I know that is a good one.
Okay, and young Jennifer Connelly in that one too, right? Yeah, for sure.
Just David Bowie at his prime, man, in that sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, man. Full makeup and all, buddy.
Absolutely. My pairings were do you have a lot, Julie? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. So mine. I got actually one during our discussion here, and I thought of one. I didn't think of this previously, but Matilda, clearly, because
Great.
Matilda is the same deal where she's like she's in this horrible situation, but her version of being in the horrible situation that she's in with her family that doesn't understand her, and it's not her like her adopted family or whatever. It's like that she has like the ESP or whatever. She has like telekinesis and all this other shit that she has like a power. It's almost like Carrie, but hers is like it's just similar. It's a girl in a shitty situation that like ends up creating this world and escapism through books as well in that film, that she's able to find another world to access. And in that same vein, I would say Never Ending Story, because it's the same thing in that where the kid throws himself into like he's a kid that's not popular in school. He gets picked on. He finds like this he hangs out like and reads books in the library. He finds this little place for him to hide and read a book, and then he gets in his head or real life. Well, actually that one's confirmed real because that he bullies the bull that Falcor or whatever at the end comes in like fucks with the bullies, but essentially like that's another one where he goes to like a fantastical world essentially to escape like his current day like day-to-day life, right? Obviously Spirited Away, because there's a lot of like stuff there, like same thing, like parallels between the family dynamic and stuff like that, and like you said, the symbolism and stuff like that of another world that she goes to. One that actually I picked up right at the start of this viewing that I realized was very similar is The Boy and the Heron. Because The Boy and the Heron is the opposite in the sense that it's the mother who died. Sorry, no, it's the the mother dies, and then the father goes and marries somebody else, and the boy is brought to this this I don't know, this like property that she lives on, and then the same thing. There's like an old structure, like building there, like labyrinth type of like place that he goes into and discovers and explores in that film, similar to this in that sense as well, right? Like it's an old property, and he gets transported to another world. This one I looked up at Labyrinth, like Jay said, and then finally one I looked up. I was trying to think of a Del Toro pairing, and similar like we talked about with the Revenge trilogy thing that.
I had this written down too.
Yeah, Del Toro said that this is part of his like trilogy of like war trilogy of like between this, his first film, which I've never seen as well, which is also Spanish language one, is called The Devil's Backbone, which also has to take place in the Spanish Civil War. And then of course you got Pinocchio, which I loved. I loved his Pinocchio. That's can be found on, I think that's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that meant to be the third?
That's what I had on my list that I found. Was there another one that he stated on yours?
What I found was that he hasn't made his third one.
Oh, okay. Somebody put at least on the list that I saw that Pinocchio can be considered that.
It could be. Maybe I could have been working off an old article before, because that Pinocchio one's kind of recent.
Yeah, it is pretty recent. Yeah, but I actually don't remember that having to deal with the war quite as much, and I haven't seen Devil's Backbone yet, so
I haven't either. But
I would like to see that. But yeah, that's because there's that one and there's Kronos. I haven't seen either of those earlier films of his. I have yet to see that one as well, but I've seen like that other one, the Gothic one. That's like there's a woman. It's like a love story or whatever. I forget what that one's called. I've seen that one. I haven't seen Shape of Water. There's some big ones I haven't seen of his still. But anyways, Those are my pairings for this, but that one's just based off of strictly what I saw online. I don't know that to be I haven't seen those films to I've seen Pinocchio, but I would say like this Devil's Backbone, I read the synopsis of it. It sounds like it fits very closely in relation to the Spanish Civil War aspect of this film.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that Pinocchio does take place during the war.
I think it does in his version as well.
Yeah, so like that could be the finisher to the trilogy if that's what like if he was doing these sort of unconnected.
Also, there's like the Jiminy Cricket kind of aspect to it with because you know how in this the fairies look like a praying mantis, a creature of some sort. Like it's kind of like similar. Like he kind of goes with like the it doesn't fit. He's not as cartoony the cricket in that film. But yeah, that's I really liked his Pinocchio as well. Oh yeah, so this is in 1910. The Pinocchio World War II. The backdrop of fascist Italy in World War II. There you go.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
That's his war trilogy. So yeah, I love that filmmakers do that shit too, where they're so obsessed with a certain theme or story that they have to tell, they recontextualize it and look at it in different ways through different stories and kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, and find different ways to talk about it and illustrate their ideas. I like that more when they kind of put that as the backdrop into, I like that the war isn't the only element of this film is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not just one note. Like, I like that there's a mixture.
It's more dimensional.
Yeah. I really dig that kind of stuff in filmmaking. That's why, similarly, I like when Tarantino mashes up. It's very similar. They're kind of very similar in that sense. Like they just like, here's several things I'm interested in and obsessed with. And, I don't think
here's all my niche hyper focus objects or subjects.
Yeah, exactly. So I dig it. All right, go ahead.
I also wrote down Neverending Story for the same reasons that you did. Parth and I both wrote down Spirited Away, so good on that one. I wrote down, okay, so to pair with our Del Toro ones, I haven't seen The Devil's Backbone, and I have seen Pinocchio, but I didn't put together that's part of that trilogy, so I don't have that. But to experience more Del Toro, if you haven't fucking seen one of his movies, like, where have you been? But Hellboy is up there, man. That's a really good film, and it's sort of that under the radar kind of comic book genre that I love. So that's a favorite for me. Shape of Water is fucking amazing. It is this kind of love story component. It's meant to be, what the fuck is the horror character? It's the swamp monster or something.
Black Lagoon. It's
Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, it's supposed to be, if that was a love story, that is his version of what that would look like, and that's a great movie. My other pairing, which was our alternate for this episode, which I'm still going to recommend, but, discretion warning on the content, Big Fish. It's a very similar vein of like, it's Tim Burton's version of how one would experience dying.
Okay.
It's it's I'm
gonna watch it.
I'm
gonna watch it since you felt so strongly about it.
You will fucking cry at that one.
All right.
You will cry. That one, this one, I was like, hey, this is not, it's not as guaranteed. It just kind of touches a part of me that Big Fish makes everyone cry.
Okay.
But it's like it's a fucking beautiful movie. Christine likes it, right? She's seen it.
It's not one I think that's high up on her burning list, nor is it one that I feel like she's seen that many times, but she's seen it. Yes. No, she likes it. When I mentioned it to her, she said she liked it, but it's not one that's like, I think she would, I think now I'm going to watch it with her because it's also one I feel like she needs a refresher on. I feel like she's seen it. Like And I've always confused it with the other one, Big Eyes, which is the one that you said you haven't seen,
No,
right?
have not.
So it's just weird because Burton has from the same period of time 2 films that are literally almost the same title in a sense, but are, from what I understand, completely different films. So I need to watch this one.
It's kind of, I can understand why it wouldn't be rank high for her on the Tim Burton stuff, because it's not really, it's not, it does have these sort of fantastical elements of his what he's known for. That's his ilk, but like it's a very different tone. Like his tone of films is usually this kind of dark, very gothic, but also fun.
Yes.
This is just, it's lively and it's bright and it's not typical Tim Burton.
Well, that's the thing. I think that
Visually,
the other one I mentioned too is not typical Tim Burton. There was like a whole, I mean, you could even argue Ed Wood is still Tim Burton because he's talking about a guy that makes schlocky horror films and stuff like that. If you've ever seen Ed Wood, but that one was, I think, his first departure to something like more based in real life. But again, different from what we know of Tim Burton. I feel like these other films, it was all done around the same period, though, these movies, and then that's when he sold out, and I don't think those were as successful for him. And he went right back to Disney, right? And he ended up just churning out Disney. Here's my version of Willy Wonka. Here's my version of Dumbo, or here's my version of Alice in Wonderland. Which for me,
I would say
I don't love that period.
Willy Wonka sucked, but if I had to think about how, like, color palette and visual sort of components and how it's kind of goofy, silly fun, it's got that same kind of color palette feel. It's not the gothic, it's not Nightmare Before Christmas, it's not is
it like
fucking
Pee-wee's
Corpse
Big
Bride.
Adventure?
Is it what?
Is like Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I haven't seen that.
Oh man, but you didn't watch Pee Wee Herman when you were growing up, did you? Okay.
No.
Some people wouldn't get that film, I feel like, today, because if they don't know Pee Wee Herman, then I think that one's gonna go over a lot of people's heads.
It's got this bubbly kind of content, like in the storytelling, but it's like it's not done in a way that is overzealous. It's not super silly. Like it's meant to be this really beautiful illustrative version of events.
Okay. I'm gonna watch it.
It's amazing. It's amazing, but it is fucking sad. Just fair warning to y'all. But I would say Edward Scissorhands, to also tack on a Tim Burton, is another kind of version of these fantastical elements. It is, but that's like, even that is like silly, goofy version, but like it's both. It's like they're meeting.
Exactly.
But it is kind of like this element of weirdness that's going on. It's kind of
a clash of like the Tim Burton you would think of, but then also combining it with like suburbia, like middle kind of stuff, where it's like it's the weird meets the normal, essentially more grounded story.
It's the extremes of both meeting in the middle. Yeah. Absolutely. But it's just kind of, I don't know, it reminds me, for some reason, Edward Scissorhands felt right for pairing. Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Everybody knows how much I love that movie. I've brought that one up as a pairing a couple of times. Very similar thematically to this movie, I feel. The Fall, which is one we talked about earlier, Tarsem Singh directed. We never watched that, did we, for this? No. Have you seen it? You haven't seen it. No. I recommend that one highly. It's another like instance of like a director going all out for the film, like for just like about like really having a passion for doing it right, because there is this visual, like I'll just kind of like summarize the thing quickly. It's about this stuntman in these movies. I think it was it's meant to be silent film era.
Okay.
And he's a stuntman for these movies, and he's in love with the leading lady, but she's in love with the leading man, and he's the stuntman for the leading man. And he gets injured during the movie, like pretty badly. He injures his back or his legs or something bad that he's like, he thinks his fucking career is over. And he's real depressed. And he meets this little girl in the hospital, and she broke her arm. She fell out of an orange tree because her and her family are poor and they have to pick oranges for a living. And she just fucking runs around the hospital talking to everybody, causing trouble, and she kind of befriends him even though he's sad, and he tells her these stories. And so like the movie is through her imagination of what the story he's telling looks like.
Okay.
And it's really beautiful. And they go to all these different countries to film stuff for like the production of the movie. They went to like so many different countries to film because they wanted the authenticity of location. And it was another bargain bin movie. I just picked that one out because it looked cool on the fucking cover, and it's fucking amazing. And I don't think it's like that well known. Like,
I added it to my watch list. Yeah,
it's incredible, and it's also kind of sad. So it fits. So I put down Hook. Do you feel like that's a comparable sort of like imaginary land experience of things? Spirited Away was an obvious one. Princess Mononoke feels like a serious subject tied with this.
Yeah, I get where you're going with it, but I also just the nature aspect of that film is so like relevant to it. I just don't get that from this film.
It's not it's not the war component. It just feels like I don't know. It felt, I don't know. Howl's Moving Castle also kind of fell into that zone where I was like, it's close, but it's not like a perfect pairing.
Yeah.
Chronicles of Narnia was a perfect fucking pairing.
Oh yes, I didn't even think of that.
The first one.
That's a good one.
It's just these kids that are stuck in this fucking weird house. They're going through some weird times. I think that's also war times. They're like away from their family because of the war. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then they create this fucking fantasy land. They go through the back of the wardrobe and they're in this crazy. And there's a fawn. Like, it's perfect.
A good pick. Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland a little bit. There's kind of a little bit of connection to that with her green outfit. She's like dressed a little bit like Alice in Wonderland in that part of the movie. But it's just another she definitely took drugs and then she ended up in a weird fantasy land. Never Ending Story, I said about that. Coraline was another version.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Tim Burton entry that is kid making up a fantasy land to escape. She's bored with her life. And yeah, that's it. But if I can, my two biggest recommendations to pair would be Big Fish and The Fall, which are both same vibes.
Julie, legacy of this film.
I think this is his best film, and I have a hard time saying that.
Interesting.
I do have a hard time saying that because I have such a soft spot for a couple of the others. But I think that this was his best film. And I think it launched him into a more broader public audience.
That's for sure.
I think it launched his career in a way that brought him accolades and attention that gained him access to do his other stuff.
And which eventually led to him winning the Oscar for Shape of Water. I totally agree with what you're saying there. Whether or not it's his best film, I probably would agree with you. It's probably the best one that I've seen, but I haven't seen them all yet. So I want to reserve that opinion because I haven't even seen Shape of Water. I will.
Shape of Water is really good, but I think I like this one more. So I think I should qualify with, I think it's his best film. In my opinion,
I think it's his most popular film.
That too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What you said there, which led to like later acclaim and stuff like that, and got him noticed. I agree because I feel like the other movies that came prior to this are lesser known and they're ones I haven't even seen, honestly. And then like, I really like
Blade. I got a few holes in there too. Like I haven't seen a couple of these ones.
I really like Blade too, but no one fucking remembers that he directed that one. It's like a footnote, I feel like, in his career. Hellboy, he's very well known for, I will say, as well, which was great. But
the first one came before Pan's Labyrinth.
Interesting. Okay. I still
Hellboy
think this
is 2004.
I would agree. Listen, and I know we'll probably get into it when we talk about our video eventually, what we've been watching lately, because I did see it was on your list and I do want to hear your opinion on it. You don't have to provide that here. I loved his Frankenstein film. I thought it was fantastic. And that actually might be my favorite now, but it's so early to tell. Like, I've watched this twice now. So like I'd give the edge to this at this point in time over Frankenstein, but I fucking absolutely loved Frankenstein. Like, it's probably in the mix for my top 5 of the year, honestly, at this point. Like, that's how much I liked it. I just thought it was an all-timer Oscar Isaac performance. I thought it was excellent. So I might go with Frankenstein as my favorite, but this is right there though. I mean, I think it's might be recency bias, honestly, with Frankenstein.
That's fair.
But this is I think you have a good case for this is probably his best movie though. I would agree with you.
I think it's gonna stand the test of time better.
Yeah.
I think that the Frankenstein one, although I would agree with you, I loved it. I thought it was great. I know a lot of people that didn't like it, which I
I don't understand that.
I don't get the hate. I don't get the hate.
I feel like it's just people that are out on Frankenstein, like because it like it was like it just you just don't like the story of Frankenstein because I'm watching it and I heard about that. It's such a divide. I do not understand it. It is the movie I feel like he was born to make. It's very puzzling to me that people don't like that movie. I don't understand. I really don't. I mean, more about later, but like I really don't get it either.
But I think
I was in the theater, like I watched it in theaters before it hit Netflix. I'm like, this is amazing. I was just like, and then like you could hear like after the movie, like some people was like, it was okay. Like it was just like really like this. Like
I think it's an unfortunate thing that Frankenstein as a story has been overtold. Maybe that people are expecting maybe something a little different. Like there is something to the.
That's what I feel like happened with
they were expecting something else.
Nosferatu, though. That's what happened with his film. But I think this is way better than that movie. But I just think you have to be out on Frankenstein and not like this movie. I think there's a bias of like you said, it's overtold. I just think if you're gonna watch one movie that's about Frankenstein, it's this. It's like it's so good in my opinion. But anyway.
It's not like he was thrown a script and he just made it for the money. He gives a shit about the content, and But I think that this comes with our knowledge of like
his love,
his legacy, and who he is, and his love for the craft and the passion is like we have a greater appreciation for the art in it.
Right.
But again, like you said, could be recency bias, but
I know. I just think it's like this is the movie he was born. Like he has an obsession with Frankenstein. You could tell how much he loved making this movie, right? Like
I haven't looked into like how polarizing the reviews are with this movie versus that one.
No, this is
one, what I had seen a little bit of was people were complaining about the characters being a little bit underdeveloped. But which is kind of plays to your point about the captain.
I think it's stuff lost in translation, personally, or just people not delving into the layers of the characters that we kind of did during this discussion. Because, on surface level, I get that there maybe wasn't enough to the characters, but I think it's just because of his approach to the storyline that he took, right? I think that it's more that than anything, right?
I think that, the unfortunate comparison that we have now is that this movie has stood the test of time already. It's 20 years old, and Frankenstein is too new. So we don't have a good enough comparison and the length of and what kind of half-life it has as far as
I just think it's great. Jay, I think you'll enjoy Frankenstein. You got to watch it, man.
I started watching it, but then I ended up falling asleep.
Long, but I like it.
At that time,
Take the time to watch that one because I think you'll like it a lot.
Because I have the access to the Netflix now, so I can.
And honestly, Oscar Isaac has never been bad. He's so fucking good in this movie. I just really liked him in this film. So anyways, all right, so that's Legacy. Jay, hit us with your next pick, my friend.
Oh fuck, bro, I don't know. I've been thinking about it sitting here for a while. You threw me off guard because I thought it was my next pick, but I wasn't sure. And
you've been buried in your phone while we were nattering on.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to go through it, but I was just trying to think of something that that would, because this is going to be for the new year, right?
Yeah.
So I had like sort of three things that I kind of really, because I was just jotting some things down in my head too, right? That I was just bringing to my head because.
What do you feel most strongly about? Which one speaks to you, Jay?
Don't
worry about what we think.
Follow your heart. You said this is in January, right? Sometime.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be a New Year's type movie.
No, I know. I'm just trying to keep it for like around. If there's anything that's coming around the time too, right? That's all I think I'm thinking. Like so. Sure. It's similar, but fucking the only thing I was thinking, I was thinking between like fucking Stand By Me. I was thinking of kind of going 80s vibe, right? And just trying to do something like that, right? Sure. So you got some good, you got some good characters in that. Because I mean, there's all kinds of 80s ones that I would do just because You know, it's the kind of movies that I kind of grew up on, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I haven't seen that movie in forever.
I've
I'm
never seen it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, no, that
So,
one. That's a
Stand
good one.
by
That's
Me.
Yeah, yeah. So
All right.
I had to keep it, keep it along that little. Let's see if anybody tears up during this one. Maybe Julie will tear up during this one. Who knows?
Maybe.
All right, there you go. A Ron Howard film. No, it's not Ron Howard. It's
No,
what's
it's
his name?
close, bro. What's his name? It's a meathead. What's his name?
Yeah, it's
Rob
not.
Reiner.
It's Rob
Rob
Reiner.
Reiner.
Yeah, the other guy from a sitcom from the 60s.
It's the meathead. Yeah, it's the meathead. Remember?
Not the Happy Days. It's
All in the family. All in the family.
Yeah, sorry, Rob Reiner. I knew it wasn't wrong as soon as I said it. I was like, oh no, it's the other friggin' guy. Yeah,
It's the same shape head as mine, man. That's why I gotta do it.
Rob
But
Reiner.
I think we'll strike one off of my list that everybody's pissed off about.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
You know what? That's kind of why I went to, because I went to look at your list to see what you didn't have that was like
Plenty.
80-ish, and then
Plenty
she
of
had,
content.
and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make her watch something that she hasn't seen. That it's probably just not along the same storyline that she would sort of pick. I don't know, but yeah, just to kind of see what she hasn't seen. Like, it's not, I mean, you can get her to watch all kinds of those 80s movies. She's gonna, she doesn't know, she hasn't watched any of them. I was thinking fucking Spaceballs. Let's throw that in their fucking face.
Spaceballs. We brought that up last episode.
I know, I have it still here on my list, man. It's coming up one day. It's just gonna pop up in there, man.
I think that's where you guys make the connection is through the comedies of that era.
Mhm.
That's where some of the more like you guys have already made this connection between the
Because even the fantasy stuff too.
Yeah, you guys connect on that sense in those movies, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. So I
was thinking of watching The Notebook, bro, really, and seeing who I can really make cry in it
Maybe
and
we'll
make them do
tease this episode until we all die.
and then we have to read the novella at the same time, but that actually would have given us enough time because the novella would have been about 170 pages.
We're not doing
too
that.
busy for that.
Ego would be teary. Julie would be teary.
Oh, I'd be missing that episode.
I would be sick that day.
It'll be you and Max talking about the Notebook.
Yeah, it would be me by myself just crying on screen. No, seriously.
Max will come over to your house.
I'm gonna do it one day.
You guys will stare at each other and record on one screen talking about the Notebook.
No, that's Brokeback Mountain. That's when we do Brokeback Mountain.
I own that movie and I never watched it. I still have it.
Which one?
Brokeback Mountain. I bought it. It was in the bargain bin, but I haven't watched it yet.
I bet you was in the bargain bin.
I did hear this.
You know how many movies I get out of the bargain bins, dude?
Giant Tiger or something.
Physical media.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Shout out to Physical Media. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for this one. Our next pick, as Jay said, in the new year will be Stand By Me. Make sure to like and subscribe and check out the other content that we drop between now and then. And I hope you guys all have a great holidays out there and a happy new year. And we'll see you then in the new year with a new episode of Late Night at the Movies. But in the meantime, other stuff will be dropping, as I mentioned. All right, guys. Thank you, Julie. Great pick. We'll see everybody next time. Later.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Welcome to the show, everybody.